Good morning, students. I am CA Shilpa Agrawal, and today's faculty for your final paper one financial reporting are Success at CA exam webinar. Students, for this webcast, we would like to first, before starting with the webcast, I would like to inform you that this time we are having amendments in financial reporting. There are two amendments which came out in the year 2025. One was on in the month of May and another was in the month of August. Both the amendments are applicable to you for your May 2026 examination because they have been notified prior to the cutoff date, which is 6 months prior to the examination, that is by 31st October 2025. So any amendments which have been notified by the MCA prior to 31st October 2025 is applicable to you. So two amendments which came in the month of May and August 2025 will be applicable for May 26 examination. These amendments have been summarized and given in your RTP for May 2026 examination. Besides that, in this month, April 2026, Students' Journal, we have given the amendments in Ind AS 21 in summarize in the flowchart form. Okay, so basically your amendments are with respect to Ind AS 21, which came in the month of May, and with respect to Ind AS 1, Ind AS 7, Ind AS 12, your amendments, and also for financial instruments, these amendments have been released. Sorry, Ind AS 12. So Ind AS 1, 7, 12, and your this financial instrument, these have been issued, notified in the month of August, and they have also been summarized and given in the RTP for May 2025. So any question may arise with respect to these amendments, so you have to refer it. Basically, your amendment with respect to Ind AS 1 is important where because earlier you were studying something regarding classification of current and non-current, where there are certain changes now as per new amendments in Ind AS 1. So that will be applicable to you. Okay. I'll advise you to please refer the RTP for this. Okay. Besides this, for this examination, we have we already had fortnight program on 9th March, where we discussed certain key topics with certain key important topics from which questions are asked in every examination, and those topics, what kind of adjustments are tested, what kind of adjustments may be tested tentatively, that we have discussed with respect to level A category, that is level 1 category. If I'll connect my BOS for success with respect to the fortnight program, and in continuation to that, I'll move here. Okay, so we promise with in that fortnight program which we conducted in 9th March, that only level 1 topic has been discussed there. So level 2 and level 3 topics I'll be discussing in BOS for success. Okay, certain key aspects which are very important. For example, your general tips for preparation. This I'm not going to cover right now because you are almost at the back end of your preparation and now you are ready for the examination. In within 15 days, you'll be having your examination. So I'm not going covering what are the key tips for preparation for examination. However, I'll be covering important key tips, or you can say significant tips which you must keep in mind while appearing for the examination, or we can say for examination strategy for last 15 minutes, that we can discuss here. Before going that, I want to start my session with the important topics. Just a minute, student. Just a minute. Okay, students. Let's continue with the important topics. The section-wise weightage, I hope everyone is aware. This is section-wise weightage and skill-wise weightage is already there in your uh, BOS website, and this is very important because these section-wise weightage are the points where from which you can understand the importance of the topic. If any section has only one topic, for example, your section 2 in counting standards or India's based on income statement. So we are having only one standard there, that is India's 115. So that particular section, if has a weightage and only one section is there, so definitely that topic is important. So your topic section Ind AS on income statement where only Ind AS 115 falls, and the weightage is 5 to 10%. So through weightage also you can gather which topic is important and which topic is not important, or we can say which topic is less important, but rather than saying not important, because not important is nothing there. USP of CA examination is that it's unpredictable, and it is also that any question from any topic may be asked within the syllabus. So I cannot say it is not important, but yes, it can be less important. But 115 is important because every time in every question paper you will find a question on Ind AS 115. Okay. Similarly, there are certain other sections which are also important because they carry less number of standards, so the probability of asking question on those standards increases. For example, your group based accounting, this is in that you'll have Ind AS 1110, Ind AS 103. So mostly question is on Ind AS 110, that is on consolidated financial statement, which test the provisions governed in Ind AS 103 as well, business combination as well. Because first you have to go for business combination, and then after certain period, say 6 months or after 1 year, you have to prepare CFS, that is consolidated financial statement. So both the standards are tested there. So this kind of question is the compulsory question which we are finding that it is appearing in the examination every time, and in every examination you will find that these questions are of 14 marks. So, and they are mandatory questions. They are not the questions which are given choice. So it is very important that you should not skip this. Even if you are not able to tally the balance sheet, even if you're not able to do pass all the adjustments, whatever you do, there's always step marking. So leaving any question and scoring zero, it is better to attempt that question with few adjustments which you are able to do it. You'll be able to get some marks. Okay. So to fetch some marks, you have to attempt that question. And to and in even if you are passing all the adjustments, but still your balance sheet is not telling, no issues. It hardly carries a very insignificant amount, say half marks or 1 marks for a total. Okay. Yes, but one important thing which I would like to stress upon is please, please, please follow the format of Division 2 of India's Division 2 of to Schedule 3 of your Companies Act, which is based on your India's based financial statement. That format has to be followed. Do not ignore that, because see, in chapter 1 also we have mentioned that for preparing the financial statements based on Indian accounting standard, you have to follow Division 2 formats. Formats are not described in Ind AS, but they are provided in the Companies Act, and Companies Act and Indian accounting standards go hand by hand, because Indian accounting standard has been notified by the Companies Act 2023, also 2013. So you have to follow the format. You cannot do that. You cannot be casual that you are complying with Ind AS, but you're not complying with the format. Indirectly, you are not complying with your standards as well. Okay, so format is very necessary. You cannot ignore that, or you cannot tweak that. Okay, however small tweak is possible, that you do one thing, that instead of preparing notes to accounts, certain information you can put it on the face of the balance sheet, though it is preferred to prepare notes to accounts, where the adjustments are less or there are no adjustments, you can put the direct amount in your on your face of the balance sheet with respect to that heading. But yes, non-current, then current, first asset, and then your equity and liabilities, equity to be classified into equity and other equity, and then non-controlling interest, and then your non-current liabilities, and then current liabilities. This should be the procedure. This should be step first, assess non-current assets, and then current assets. Under non-current asset, you have to, whatever you're having, property, plant and equipment, goodwill, intangible asset. One important thing, under Ind AS based financial statement, goodwill is shown separately other than intangible asset. Okay. And then your in financial assets, non-current financial asset, and your other items, and then current assets. Under current assets, inventories, your financial assets, your other current assets. This should be the step. First assets, and then your equity and liabilities. So we were here with the important topics. So under Ind AS, first question, which is compulsory, mandatory, and carries maximum mark, that is 14 marks. Your every descriptive question can be of maximum 14 marks, and this question carries 14 marks. There is no choice also. There is no subparts also. So try to attempt this. Key to solve such type of questions is that you should go through each and every adjustment. Double entry system to be followed for every adjustment to be made. And if you are doing that, you'll be flawless and you'll be able to complete your this question timely and will also be able to do it accurately. Okay, your balance sheet will tell you. Maybe some arithmetical accuracy is not there, because of that balance sheet is not telling. But if you are following double entry system for every adjustment, you are sure that you are doing it correctly. Okay. So we discussed about 115, we discussed about 110 and 103, that is group based accounting. Another important topic which is important and which should not be skipped is your standard on financial instruments. Financial instrument, we are having a separate section. That section is your section 5, I believe. And under that section, we have only three standards, and all the three standards are financial instrument related standards. One is your इंडियस बेस्ड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स you स्क्रीन उल्टा है यहाँ ऐसे आपने हाँ ओके India's based financial statements, your financial instrument based section is there, which covers your India's 32, India's 107, and also India's 109. So all three standards, when we are covering in this study material, it is given in one chapter, that is accounting and reporting of financial instrument. That entire chapter, though it is lengthy, but it carries a significant weightage, that is of almost 12 to 18 marks. Okay. Hmm? That is almost 12 to 18 marks. So that has to be, this is also very important standard. We cannot skip it. So now, when I'm talking about these standard, let me just discuss what kind of provisions which we test. So we have discussed that in fortnight program, but I'm starting and I'm trying to brush up fatafat, and then I'll move to level 2 category. Under level 1 category, one standard which we found very important was Ind AS 115. Under Ind AS 115, important adjustments which are tested are mainly your when you're having number of performance obligations, more than one performance obligation, and your transaction price has to split into a different performance obligation. So that is one aspect which is tested in general. Another aspect which is tested is your when you have fixed and variable components, what will be the accounting and measurement of revenue in case of fixed component and variable component. You have a question in your study material regarding that AC or a lift. I believe there it is mentioned that lift is static and they have it is ready to install and it is fixed, and what will be the valuation, and for other construction process what should be the valuation, revenue recognition. Another important aspects in India is 115 is regarding bill and hold, your loyalty points, and also catch up adjustments when it was in earlier periods when your revenue recognition or the contract splits into number of years and it is running into number of years. In first year you were not very sure regarding certain variable components to be recognized or to be received, but later on it is reversible and you will find that it is sure very most likely to receive. In that case, what the accounting should be done retrospective with retrospective effect. Okay, so that is important question. Loyalty points, these are important. With respect to India's 110 important points, 103 and 110 combined, I'll be talking about. And important is your adjustment for revaluation in case of property, plant and equipment or any non-current asset. Your share-based payment replacement award, what should be the counting? Identification of any asset or liability which is not appearing in the balance sheet of subsidiary, but at the time of acquisition you find it as identifiable asset or liability. So that should be the case. Contingent liability, though it is not appearing in the balance sheet of subsidiary, but at the time of acquisition, you find that that liability is identifiable or it is very likely to be materialize or you have to pay for that. So that will not become a contingent liability in acquirer's book. It will be liability. So in that case, what the accounting should be done based on the revaluation or reclassification or of asset and liabilities in the books of acquisition acquirer, and like the difference between the acquiree's book, there may be cases which may lead to deferred tax. So accounting for that deferred tax also because of valuation, because of classification. And also there are certain other things like indemnification, your a dividend or bonus component, how to do it. See, every adjustment you should have a separate treatment and you should be aware of that treatment. That is very necessary and it's key to solve it. If I'm talking about revaluation, what should be the entry if revaluation adjustment is there in the in the question? If it is revaluation of property, plant and equipment, okay, revaluation is done generally at the time of acquisition, so it will be pre and it will be taken into it will increase the value of property, PPE, and at the same time it will also increase the retained earning. Okay. Similarly, you have to see what will be the depreciation impact in case of revaluation. It will impact the post acquisition part of your financial statement, and in that post acquisition part definitely it will reduce the asset value and at the same time it will reduce the retained earning. So I'm giving you the two different adjustments on double entry system. That is the way you have to see for every adjustment. And when you know each and every adjustment, for sure you are going to solve it. Even you won't find this question to be very heavy or not achievable. It will definitely will be there. Okay. Okay, now we move on to next part, which we were talking about financial instrument. With respect to 110, I would like to say one more thing. One compulsory question in descriptive part appears for this particular section. However, you will find three MCQs minimum, or I can say three MCQs at least in your objective type portion. That is part one of your question paper. You will find at minimum three questions. Two to three questions are for sure you are going to get it. So here your testing will be more on your associate accounting, your joint venture accounting, your equity method accounting, your evaluation of non-controlling interest. So just take care. It is not that you have to prepare consolidated balance sheet and you skip those separate units on accounting for associates or accounting for joint ventures. That may be tested in your descriptive part. So this entire topic is important. And still, in case you find preparing consolidated financial statement difficult, at least prepare those units on accounting for associates, accounting for your joint venture, because they will help you in getting marks in your objective type question. They are small units also, they have a separate concept, so you can at least do that. Okay, you'll be able to do something. Instead of leaving the entire chapter, you can at least prepare some of the units. Then one chapter is on financial instrument. For financial instrument, what I suggest is that they are, one important aspect is compound financial instrument, where you have to determine the liability component, you have to determine the equity component of the financial instrument or liability. So that is very important because most of the questions you find are based on this. Some comprehensive illustrative questions are given at the end of the chapter in the section comprehensive illustration, or in your test knowledge part, or in your practice question. That lengthy questions related to loans taken by employee on different terms and conditions, that you have to prepare, because the question which appears in your descriptive part is of minimum 10 marks. For 10 marks, that lengthy question may be asked. Okay. So these were with respect to lengthy questions. Besides that, what we get derivative accounting for derivative instrument when spot rate is provided or when future rates are there, forward rates are given, when and aspects like when gold, silver, that commodity accounting is there. With respect to financial instrument, I gave few aspects to you right now, what is coming to my mind. So you have to just keep in mind that in this particular topic will have place in your descriptive part also and in your objective type question also. So in descriptive part for 10 marks, you have to prepare that those kind of questions which carries come like security deposit leading to right of use asset. This is for your say transaction cost is there, where transaction cost leads their transaction cost because of this transaction price may not be at present value. So you have to take into account effective interest rate EIR also, compound financial instrument, your derivative accounting, loan wala accounting for your employees on different terms and conditions. That are questions which you should at least go through that. These are important questions, which you important adjustments which you have to take care of. Okay. After financial instrument, we have some sections which have number of topics, but question their weightage is also very high. Like for section 3, which is on accounting in AS based on assets and liabilities. It has almost 10 standards, but it also carries weightage of, let me show you, weightage of 15 to 25%. By saying 15% means 18 marks. And by saying 25%, I mean to say it is 30 marks. So questions from these topics, this section may appear from 18 to 30 marks. So if not, in fact, it is 30 marks. But for sure, it will be of at least 20 to 22 marks. Okay. One question will be of 6 marks. One question will be of 8 marks. Then we'll again have 3 MCQs in your objective type part also. So in total it will be somewhere for 20 to 24 marks क्वेश्चन इसमें से आता है इस टॉपिक में से. So one question from liability and 2 question from SS. For sure it is going to come. So we have only 2 standard for liabilities, Ind AS 19 or Ind AS 37. So you have to prepare one, it may come in your descriptive part, one may come in your liability part. With respect to assets based standards, you have to go for trend analysis. Trend analysis, by saying trend analysis, I would like to say just go through past 3 to 4 examinations and find out from this section which standard has been tested. For example, in the recent examination, we have standard question on your Ind AS 23. Okay. So if we have a question on Ind AS 23 borrowing cost, then in that case, you won't, the probability of testing Ind AS 23 in May 26 examination becomes less. Okay. So don't give that standard as a priority. Give other standards as priority, which has not been tested from past 2 to 3 attempts. Okay, like for 105, you may prepare for India's on investment property, you may prepare for property, plant, and equipment. They are connected also. Property, plant, and equipment and investment property, they are connected somewhere. Okay, recognition is more or less same, but transfer from PP to investment property or investment property to PP or inventory, that you have to see. So that probability, that trend analysis you have to do. Okay. With respect to liabilities, this time question came on Ind AS 19, so there is probability that question on Ind AS 37 may be asked in your descriptive part. But more or less, if you see, you'll find one or the other question in your descriptive part, objective type also. Okay, so these two standards, 90 and 37, should at least not be ignored. 116 is very important standard because this standard gives you questions on of 8 marks. So this standard is important. Okay, 16 also carries questions which have of 8 marks, which can be of 8 marks. Like for 33 also, 38 में impairment, sorry, 36 impairment में भी आपको ऐसे questions मिलेंगे which are of 8 marks or 6 बड़े-बड़े questions है ना. So what is important, what I want to say is that कि इस topics में से you have to find those questions which may be of at least 8 or 6 marks. We have one question number 3, either 3A or 3B is on section 3. Is similarly in question 4, you have either 4A or 4B on section 3. So if we are having 3A of 8 marks, then I'll be having 4A or B of 6 marks on this particular section. Okay. Okay. Now we move on to next important section. Any question which comes to your mind, you may ask in between. Will be there. Sumit, Shubh, Sara, Rahul, I'm there to resolve your queries also. In case you find any something which in between when I am speaking, you have any counter queries, you just let me know. Okay. Okay. Moving on to another. Now we move on to level 2 categories. Level 2 categories. Just a minute. Huh? In ABC analysis, these are the topics which have, okay, I talked about 110, 103 financial instrument and 115. Talking about share-based payment, in share-based payment, most of the questions will be on your equity grants or on your stock appreciation rights. Few questions you may ask where there are hybrid instruments are there. Okay, so this type of questions you should take care of. Basically, your stock appreciation rights and also equity grants. In respect to equity grants, you can also have modification terms also that you should be aware of. In 116 leases, you'll find identification of lease where component, lease component and non-lease components you should be aware of. Accounting of security deposit, whether it leads to lease asset and modification of leases. Okay, analysis of financial statement. Again, this section has only two topics. One is analysis of financial statement, and another is your 101. That is first time adoption of Indian accounting standard. So with respect to this, one of the question, there are only two topics. So definitely your probability is that one question of 5 marks will be asked from this topic. Okay, so for analysis of financial statement, they are not very good number of illustrations. They are almost 6 to 7 case studies. Along with that, we are having 7 to 8 test knowledge questions. Prepare them thoroughly, and one of the question will be there in your examination from this topic. Okay. Moving to your, I already talked about all these things. In 1102, equity settled share-based payments, cash settle, accounting of SARs, share-based payment with choice of settlement to counterparty, and modification. This I told, these are four important areas which you should be ready with. For India is 116, identification of the important topics which are there are identification of leases, initial recognition and measurement, and subsequent measurement, remeasurement, lease modification, and presentation of lease liability in balance sheet. What is remeasurement of 116? See, what in case of leases, it may happen that after 1 or 2 years, when your lease term is more than is running into few years, what happens that during the year, if a lessor or lessee, basically lessee wants to get the terms modified by saying that now they want more areas to be covered in the lease property, or more assets to be covered, or it the lease liabilities to be revised, they are not able to pay it. So in what those cases we do is lease modification or we do remeasurement. So in that case, what would be the accounting that we should be aware of? Okay, Shubh has asked, I had one thing which is not relevant to this, but if you could tell it, it will help. I'm unable to find fortnight program recording. No, beta, fortnight programs are not available in a recorded version. It was a live webinar, a webcast, and that was once given, it will go off. It is not available for last attempt also, and for this attempt also, we are not having any recorded version available. Okay, this BOS for success will be there on YouTube. It will be available on record as a recorded lecture. It will also be there with on our BOS knowledge portal. After login, you can find that. But with respect to fortnight program, it is not available on the recorded version. Okay, sure. Okay. Moving to next topic. Okay, this is very important. Presentation of lease liability in balance sheet, current and non-current portion. Students, here I would like to say something. This is very important reason because most of the students make mistake here. When you are having the total outstanding lease liability at the year end, say it is somewhere 6,86,000, say 759. Your next liability, which is due next year at the end, is say 1,29,800. But the installment which you pay is say 1,50,000. Okay. Then what happens? Students, what they do is that they make it this value as current liability. But this is not correct. You have to make only this value as currently, because this value forms part of this total liability, not this value. This includes your finance cost also, and this finance cost we calculate at the year end in the next year, and then it will become 1,50,000. Otherwise, it is only 1,29,800. So you have to bifurcate this 6,86,759 into two parts: current liability and non-current liability. And in current liability, you'll be showing this 1,29,800 and not this 1,50,000. Okay. I hope it is clear. This is very important presentation of lease liability in balance sheet, that is current and non-current portion. Hope I am clear. Okay. Hmm. Moving to next important topic is your category B standards. The standards which we cover in category B are India's 36 impairment of assets. In impairment of assets, mostly you will find any impairment related to your one. It's not only for one particular asset, it may be for your cash generating unit, okay, where you're having clubbed assets clubbed with goodwill also. And besides that, there may be cases where you may find reversal of impairment of assets. So these three important aspects you should take into account for. In India's 33 earnings per share, your what would be the treatment in case you are having shares issued during the year, that is for weighted average, and you are having bonus also, you are having right elements also for that. For these elements, what would be the accounting, or what would be how you will be calculating India's earning per share, that is EPS, both basic and diluted. For potential shares, what are diluted and anti-diluted shares, how to calculate that, and which in which sequence you have to take into account for calculating diluted earning per share in different steps for every item, that you have to take understand in this earning per share wala portion. Okay. Provisions contingent. Next is India's 37 provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets. Most of the questions you will be asked to determine provision only. Whether provision is to be formed, if provision is to be formed, by what value the provision is to be formed, which method is to be applied. It is expected value method or most likely method. What would be the accounting, basically what would be the amount. I won't say it is accounting, it is what would be the amount of provision which is to be created and when to be created. Okay, at what value to be created. In case you are having a provision which is very clear that provision is to be created, it is not contingent liability, but it is a provision, but by what amount. You may be given 3 to 4 amounts at three different periods before closing of financial statement. Your liability which was sued to you was say 10 lakh, then it increased to 11 lakh on reporting date. Before approval of financial statement, it increased to 12 lakh. The settlement was done by 13 lakh. So what should be the accounting? So different amounts will be given from different for different periods, and you have to identify which value to be taken for your balance sheet. Okay. Okay. Next, we are having your India effects on risk context. That is also very important for India's 37 on risk context. You have to take account into that what executory context, what is the on risk context, and what value to be recognized in that scenario. Contingent liability, what to be recognized. What is important in this particular standard, India's 37, is the theory part. You have to be very well versed with the key terms used in this particular standard. Possible obligation, past obligation, present obligation, possi future obligations, what measurable, it is reasonable assurance is there or not, what it is measurable, quantifiable है कि नहीं है. These aspects you should be aware. No need, and I would suggest for this particular standard, India 37, go for handwritten practice even when you are having 15 days left. Okay, because theory is we know the concepts, but when we put the concepts in the paper on pen paper mode, when we are using it, we'll be finding that you miss few important provisions or key terms. You write it in a very layman general language, and that sometimes leaves to not get you full score or full marks. So for that, very important, you're not supposed to read word by word or every sentence or every provision, but key terminology should reflect in your answer for this particular standard. Okay, India's 37. Okay, then we have India's 21 effects of changes in foreign exchange rate. We have one question for what would be the accounting in case the transaction is between for a subsidiary and parent company when one of the entity is a foreign company. It may be holding, parent company is a foreign entity, or your subsidiary is a foreign entity, and the transaction is between them. Then what should be the case? What should be the inventory valuation when you are doing it in foreign exchange? Okay, so this kind of, and ट्रांसलेशन इनटू फंक्शनल करेंसी, ट्रांसलेशन इनटू प्रेजेंटेशन करेंसी. प्रेजेंटेशन करेंसी में ट्रांसलेशन हमेशा ईयर एंड में होता है, मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स और एट क्लोजिंग रेट. फंक्शनल करेंसी में जब आप ट्रांसलेट कर रहे होते हैं तो यू हैव टू सी इट इज अ नॉन करेंट आइटम और करेंट आइटम, दैट इज मॉनेटरी और नॉन मॉनेटरी. मॉनेटरी आइटम है तो क्लोजिंग रेट यूज करना है, नॉन मॉनेटरी आइटम है तो आपको डेट ऑफ ट्रांजेक्शन का करना है, हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट पे चलना है. ठीक है, तो ये आपको चीजें ध्यान रखनी है. और एक बार नॉन मॉनेटरी आइटम का आपने ट्रांसलेशन कर दिया तो उसकी वैल्यू आप इनहेंस नहीं करते हैं. आप मॉनेटरी आइटम की एवरी रिपोर्टिंग डेट पे वैल्यू जो है, रिपोर्टिंग डेट पे जो एक्सचेंज रेट है उसके बेसिस पे अपडेट करते हैं. ठीक है. With respect to 113, a fair value measurement we have kept in category 3. यहाँ पे आपको ट्रांजेक्शन कॉस्ट, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट, इस पे आपको ध्यान रखना है. फेयर वैल्यू की एक दो कुछ ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस नहीं है स्टडी मटेरियल में. एक एबिटा का इस बार ही आ गया है तो उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी वैसे ही कम है आपको आने की. आप ट्रांजेक्शन का स्टैंडर्ड की प्रोबेबिलिटी इस एग्जाम में आने की कम है क्योंकि आपका ये अभी रिसेंटली जनवरी में टेस्ट हुआ है. ठीक. बोरोविंग कॉस्ट, इसमें कुछ अच्छे क्वेश्चंस हैं बोरोविंग कॉस्ट पे जो आपको पढ़ने चाहिए आपकी अपनी कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी के लिए भी. वन इज ऑन, जो आपका उसमें दिया हुआ है टेस्ट नॉलेज में, और कुछ एक क्वेश्चन आपका दिया हुआ है आपके प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस में, दैट इज एट द एंड ऑफ मॉड्यूल 2. ओके, सो जो आपका टेस्ट नॉलेज में क्वेश्चन है, क्वेश्चन 4, 5, ये आपकी इंपॉर्टेंट है. स्पेसिफिक बोरोविंग और जनरल बोरोविंग दोनों हो रही हैं, तो स्पेसिफिक बोरोविंग में आप भले ही इसका यूटिलाइजेशन आप डिफरेंट पीरियड्स पे कर रहे हैं, आपका इंटरेस्ट चार्ज डे 1 से शुरू हो जाता है. ठीक है, अगर आपकी कमेंसमेंट डेट भी वही डेट है जिस डेट पे आपकी इंटरेस्ट चार्जिंग शुरू हो रही है स्पेसिफिक बोरोविंग में, तो फिर तो आपको पूरा डे 1 से आपको इंटरेस्ट की वैल्यूएशन कर, इंटरेस्ट आपका बोरोविंग कॉस्ट माना जाएगा टिल द क्वालिफाइंग पीरियड. क्वालिफाइंग एसेट पे क्वालिफाइंग पीरियड है आपका, सब पीरियड है. अदरवाइज कमेंसमेंट डेट से, हेंस जब तक आपका कंस्ट्रक्शन कंप्लीट नहीं होता. कमेंसमेंट डेट और अगर आपका डेट ऑफ बोरोविंग डिफरेंट है तो ऑब्वियसली इंटरेस्ट तो आपका चार्ज होना डेट ऑफ बोरोविंग से शुरू हो जाएगा, लेकिन कमेंसमेंट डेट आपकी आगे की आ रही है. फॉर एग्जांपल 1 अप्रैल को आपने बोरोविंग की, आप जो है आप जाके 15 अप्रैल से आपने कमेंसमेंट डेट है जिस डेट से आप कैपिटलाइजेशन कर सकते हैं, तो 1 अप्रैल से 15 तक का जो भी है वो पीएनएल में जाएगा. 15 अप्रैल ऑनवर्ड्स, इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ कि आपने स्पेसिफिक बोरोविंग को पार्ट्स में यूज किया है, आपकी जो भी डे 1 से आपकी बोरोविंग निकलेगी वो पूरी पूरी बोरोविंग कॉस्ट मानी जाएगी टिल द कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड. ओके, हाउएवर जनरल बोरोविंग में ऐसा नहीं होता. जनरल बोरोविंग में आपका जब जब आप यूटिलाइजेशन कर रहे हो उस उतने पीरियड का आप वेटेज निकालोगे, वेटेड वैल्यू निकालोगे और उस पर आप कैपिटलाइजेशन करोगे. कैपिटलाइजेशन रेट यूज करना है. आपका कैपिटलाइजेशन रेट डिफरेंट हो सकता है जब आपकी मोर देन 1 जनरल बोरोविंग है और डिफरेंट रेट्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पे है. ठीक है, तो आपको इफेक्टिव कैपिटलाइजेशन रेट को यूज करना है इन दैट केस में. और आपकी बोरोविंग जब जब यूटिलाइज हो रही है तब तब का ही आप उस पर इंटरेस्ट निकालोगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने 1 अप्रैल को आपने 50,000 का यूज किया जनरल बोरोविंग, और आपने फिर 3 मंथ्स बाद यूज किया, तो आप 1 अप्रैल से जितना यूज कर रहे हैं उतने पे ही आप इंटरेस्ट निकालेंगे इन केस ऑफ जनरल बोरोविंग. हाउएवर व्हेन इट कम्स टू स्पेसिफिक बोरोविंग, आपने 10 लाख की बोरोविंग की थी बट आप यूटिलाइज कर रहे हो 1 अप्रैल को 3 लाख और रिमेनिंग 7 लाख आप कर रहे हो 3 मंथ सिंस, तब स्टिल आपकी जो टोटल 10 लाख पे जो इंटरेस्ट निकलती है वो आपकी थ्रू आउट द पीरियड, अगर आपका ईयर एंड तक चल रहा है कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड, तो पूरा ईयर की आपकी बोरोविंग कॉस्ट जो होगी वो कैपिटलाइज होगी, इररिस्पेक्टिव कि आपने 3 लाख पहले यूज किए थे और 7 लाख तो आपने 9 मंथ्स में यूज किए है ना, वो नहीं होगा. ये क्वेश्चन आपका टेस्ट नॉलेज में है. एक आपके पास क्वेश्चन है कि कंपनी के पास पहले कभी बोरोविंग नहीं थी, कंपनी कंस्ट्रक्शन कर रहा था तो हम कोई बोरोविंग नहीं थी तो कोई बोरोविंग कॉस्ट नहीं था, हमने कुछ कैपिटलाइज नहीं किया, लेकिन 1 साल के बाद हमने उसमें बोरोविंग, जनरल बोरोविंग हमारे पास आ गई और हमने उसका इंटरेस्ट को यूज करना शुरू किया. अब मैं इंटरेस्ट किस वैल्यू पे निकालूंगी, मेरा तो 1 साल पहले से कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रहा है, तो ओपनिंग बैलेंस जो कंस्ट्रक्शन का हुआ है उस पे भी आपका इंटरेस्ट निकलेगा पर वेटेड पीरियड के लिए, जिस डेट से जनरल बोरोविंग आई है उस डेट से. ठीक है, उस डेट से ओपनिंग बैलेंस पे भी जो इंटरेस्ट वैल्यू बनती थी वो आपको निकालनी है, पहली चीज. और दूसरा, जो भी बोरोइंग कॉस्ट होता है वो हमेशा, क्योंकि वो कैपिटलाइज होता है, कैपिटलाइज होने का मतलब क्या है कि वो दैट फॉर्म्स पार्ट ऑफ द कॉस्ट, एंड व्हेन इट बिकम्स पार्ट ऑफ द कॉस्ट फॉर नेक्स्ट ईयर, आपकी कॉस्ट क्या होगी? कॉस्ट प्लस बोरोइंग कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर। ठीक है, प्रीवियस ईयर की जो कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरोइंग कॉस्ट है, दोनों मिला के जो टोटल वैल्यू आ गई, वो आपकी नेक्स्ट ईयर की टोटल कॉस्ट होगी, और आप उस पे निकालोगे, यानी बोरोइंग कॉस्ट पे भी बोरोइंग कॉस्ट निकलती है इन केस ऑफ जनरल बोरोइंग। ओके। Okay, now we have next standard, that is India's 16, property, plant and equipment. प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट में आपको इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स होगा, एक तो रिकॉग्निशन, कितने ऐसे कौन कौन सी वैल्यूज को आपको यूटिलाइज करना है फॉर कैपिटलाइजेशन इन एज एन इनिशियल कॉस्ट ऑफ पीपीई। उसके बाद ड्यूरिंग द ईयर या आगे जाके कोई ओवरहॉलिंग हो रही है या उस पर आप कोई रिप्लेसमेंट कर रहे हैं तो क्या अकाउंटिंग होगी, डेप्रिसिएशन कैसे निकलेगा, रीवैल्यूएशन होगा तो कैसे होगा, उस पर इम्पेयरमेंट होगा तो कैसे होगा। इसी में आप इंडियस 23 को भी ज्वाइन कर दीजिए कि आपने बोरोविंग करी थी तो बोरोविंग कैसे होगा, इंडियस 21 को भी ऐड कर लीजिए, फॉरेन में बोरोविंग कर, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज में बोरोविंग की थी तो कैसे अकाउंटिंग करेंगे। ये सारे एलिमेंट्स आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है। 23 इंडियस 23 आपको फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की बोरोविंग पे भी अकाउंटिंग बताता है कि कैसे करना है। ओके। मैं आपको, क्योंकि लिमिटेड टाइम के उससे मैं आपको हर एक स्टैंडर्ड के अंदर की निटिग्रिटीज या प्रोविजंस नहीं बता रही हूँ, पर मैं इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स जिसपे आपकी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए, क्वेश्चंस आपके उन एस्पेक्ट्स पे प्रिपेयर्ड या प्रैक्टिस्ड होने चाहिए, क्योंकि वही उस तरह से डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली इसी तरह के क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछे जाते हैं। ठीक है। Now comes statement of cash flows, very important standard. Though I have kept in category B because every time it does not appear in your question paper, but it is the question जो कि alternate exam में mostly मिल जाता है। ठीक है। इसमें आपको ज्यादातर जो होगा या फिर ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट के कारण से कैश जनरेटेड फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी पूछ रहे हैं, या फिर आपको मोस्टली जो पूछा जा रहा है वो पूरा पूरा कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट बनाना है जिसमें तीनों एक्टिविटीज की अकाउंटिंग आपको करनी है। इसमें जो इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट जो टेस्ट होते हैं जो बच्चों को कंफ्यूज करते हैं, व्हाट इज वन इज कि जब आपके पास कोई फॉरेन एक्सचेंज के कारण से, बोरोविंग के कारण से आपकी कैश फ्लोज हो रही है तो उसकी अकाउंटिंग कैसे करनी है, क्योंकि फॉरेन एक्सचेंज में आपको काफी कुछ ट्रांसलेशन के कारण से वैल्यू आती है, वो आपकी कैश फ्लो में आएगी कि नहीं आएगी। कुछ आपकी वैल्यूएशन जो है सिर्फ बढ़ रही है पर एक्चुअल में नहीं हुई थी कैश फ्लोज, तो उसके लिए आप कैसे अकाउंटिंग करोगे, नेट बेसिस की अकाउंटिंग कैसे करोगे, ये आपको पूरा इसमें ध्यान रखना है। फॉरेन एक्सचेंज वाला एलिमेंट आप जरूर ध्यान रखिए फॉर दिस इंडिया 7। ओके। देन कम्स इवेंट्स आफ्टर द रिपोर्टिंग पीरियड। इसमें एक ही मेन कंसेप्ट है कि आपका इवेंट आफ्टर द रिपोर्टिंग पीरियड है तो जो इवेंट है ये आपका एडजस्टेबल है कि नॉन एडजस्टेबल है। अगर एडजस्टेबल है तो आपको अपनी बैलेंस शीट में रिफ्लेक्ट करना है, नॉन एडजस्टेबल है तो बैलेंस शीट में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करना है। ओके। प्रोफेशनल एंड एथिकल ड्यूटी ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, इसमें आपको होंगे सारे प्रोविजंस एग्जिस्टिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स के, पर मैनर ऑफ आंसरिंग क्या होगी, मैनर ऑफ आंसरिंग आपके यहाँ पे ऐसा रहेगा कि पहले आप एक्चुअल प्रोविजन एज इन कंप्लायंस विद इंडियस बताइए, फिर आप ये बताइए कि अगर डेविएशन करता है तो क्या हो सकता है, और करेगा तो उसको क्या कौन सी पेनाल्टीज या कौन से पनिशमेंट्स अट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं एज पर कोड ऑफ एथिक्स या फिर इंस्टीट्यूट के जो रेगुलेशंस है उसके बेसिस पे। यहाँ पे जो ध्यान रखने वाली बात है जो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज कि whether the chartered accountant who is going to make mistake or in case he makes mistake, तो क्या होगा, वो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट प्रैक्टिस में है कि सर्विस में। क्वेश्चन में आपको देखना है कि वो आपका ऑडिटर है कि वो आपका एम्प्लॉय है, सीएफओ है कि आपका अकाउंटेंट है, क्या है। क्योंकि सर्विस में अगर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट है तो उनके लिए डिफरेंट पेनाल्टीज होती है, प्रैक्टिस में जो है उनके लिए अलग होती है, तो ये आपको कंसिडर करके अकॉर्डिंगली आपको रिप्लाई करना है। इनकम टैक्सेस इंपॉर्टेंट स्टैंडर्ड है, इसमें मैं पर्टिकुलर कोई एक एस्पेक्ट नहीं बता सकती कि ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, आपको ये पूरा स्टैंडर्ड पढ़ना है। जो मेन आपको ध्यान रखना है कि टैक्स बेस क्या है, कैरिंग वैल्यू क्या होगी एज पर बुक्स, और दोनों का डिफरेंस परमानेंट है कि टेम्पोररी है, और इन दैट मतलब टैक्सेबल है कि आपका डिडक्टेबल है, और इन दैट केस इन दोनों डिफरेंस में आप टैक्सेबल टेम्पररी डिफरेंस और जो आपका डिडक्टेबल टेम्पररी डिफरेंस में इसमें क्या आपका कैलकुलेशन होगा। एक सिंपल सी ट्रिक फॉर इंडियस 12 इनकम टैक्सेस के लिए, अगर आपका डेबिट बैलेंस है, आपके जो डिफरेंस का डेबिट बैलेंस आता है, तो इन दैट केस आपका डीटीएल बनेगा, लायबिलिटी बनेगी, क्रेडिट में जाएगा। ठीक है। और अगर आपका डिफरेंस जो है वो आपका जो भी अगर बैलेंस आपका क्रेडिट है तो उस पे आपकी डायरेक्ट टैक्स एसेट बनेगी। ये एक मंत्रा है, बिल्कुल आप कभी भी टेस्ट करके देखना। जब आपका डिफरेंस डेबिट होता है तो आपकी डीटीएल बनती है, और जब आपका डिफरेंस आपका एसेट होता है तो आपकी, सॉरी, जब आपका लाइबिलिटी होती है या फिर आपका क्रेडिट बैलेंस होता है तो आपका डीटीए बनता है। ठीक है। लॉसेस हो रहे हैं आपको अनसर्टेनिटी के कारण से, उसमें आप देखिए आपके डिटेल्स निकल रहे होंगे। ठीक है। तो ये आपको एक सिंपल सा ध्यान रखना है। ये एक सिंपल ट्रिक है, आप एक दो बार दो चार क्वेश्चन करिएगा, उसमें आप ये ट्रिक अप्लाई करेगा, आपको कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा और आप उस हिसाब से कर सकेंगे। ठीक है। इंडियस 12 में सिंपल सा इंड वन प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट। देखो ये स्टैंडर्ड जल्द ही तुम्हारा जो है बदलने वाला है। अभी इस पे आईएफआरएस में तो इंडेज 118 आ गया है, प्रेजेंटेशन एंड डिस्क्लोजर वाले उस पे। पर लेकिन अभी हमारे पास इसका नोटिफाइड नहीं है। दो काफी हम एडवांस स्टेज पे है। नफरा से पास हो गया है, एमसी के पास है, नोटिफाई के लिए डला हुआ है। कभी भी नोटिफाई होके आ सकता है। तो 118 जब भी नोटिफाई होगा, क्योंकि नया स्टैंडर्ड होगा, पूरा पूरा लिमिटेड रिवीजन नहीं है, एंटायर स्टैंडर्ड विल बी नोटिफाइड। तो आपको 1 ईयर बाद से वो एप्लीकेबल होगा। मीनवाइल आपको इंडेक्स में प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट पढ़ना है। तो इससे प्रोबेबिलिटी बढ़ जाती है। वैसे भी इससे मोर और लेस 4 नंबर का क्वेश्चन तो आ ही जाता है एग्जाम में। सो ये इंपॉर्टेंट है आपका इंडियस वन प्रेजेंटेशन पे। इसमें आपको जो क्वेश्चंस टेस्ट किए जाते हैं मेन क्लासिफिकेशन एस्पेक्ट्स पे, कि करंट है कि नॉन करंट है। ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल के बेसिस पे आप ये डिफाइन करते हैं, या फिर आपको जो आपने कोई लोन कोवेनेंट्स थे, वो अगर आपके वो कोवेनेंट्स आपने अगर ब्रीच कर दिए हैं तो इसके कारण से क्लासिफिकेशन में कोई चेंज आ रहा है क्या। क्लासिफिकेशन का चेंज तब होगा इन लाइबिलिटीज पे जब आपको देखना पड़ेगा ये ब्रीच ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो हो रहा है वो कब हो रहा है। ये कोवेनेंट्स जो हैं आप कब जाके वो ब्रीच हो रहे हैं। बिफोर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट हो रहे हैं और सुधर भी गए बिफोर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, क्लासिफिकेशन में कोई चेंज नहीं आएगा। फाइनेंशियल डेट पे या रिपोर्टिंग डेट पे आपका कोई क्लासिफिकेशन, रिपोर्टिंग डेट पे आपकी कोई ब्रीच ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कोवेनेंट थी और वो आपका रेक्टिफिकेशन बिफोर अप्रूवल ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में है, आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं, डिपेंडिंग ऑन कि कितने टाइम के लिए वो रेक्टिफाई करने की परमिशन आपको मिली है। अगर आपका आफ्टर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट अप्रूवल ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट आपका वो कोवेनेंट जो था आपने रेक्टिफाई किया, तो फिर तो क्लासिफिकेशन बदलेगा, क्योंकि हमें उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है। ठीक है। तो आपको ये देखना है कि जो कोवेनेंट जो ब्रीच होते हैं वो कब जाके रेक्टिफाई हो रहे हैं, कब हुए, कब जाके रेक्टिफाई हो रहे हैं। एडवांस में हुआ ही नहीं थे कभी ब्रीच, लीजिए, अगर रेक्टिफाई हो ही नहीं रहे थे, मतलब सॉरी ब्रीच था ही नहीं, आपको लगा ब्रीच हो जाएगा, हम कंप्लाई नहीं कर रहे हैं जिसके कारण से ब्रीच हो जाएगा, और हमने उसको एंटिसिपेशन में ही हमने कोई रेक्टिफिकेशन स्टेप यूज कर लिया। जो रेक्टिफिकेशन स्टेप करते करते आप आगे बढ़ गए लेकिन अभी ब्रीच हुआ नहीं था, तो इन दैट केस भी क्लासिफिकेशन नहीं चेंज होगा। आपकी अगर नॉन करेंट है तो नॉन करेंट ही रहेगी। मेनली होता है कि नॉन करेंट आइटम को हम करंट कर रहे हैं क्या, बिकॉज ऑफ ब्रीच ऑफ कोवेनेंट। ओके। नेक्स्ट इज, अच्छा मैंने आपको इंडेक्स वन में इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स क्या है, ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल, क्लासिफिकेशन इनटू करंट एंड नॉन करंट है आपका, और आपकी ओसीआई। ओसीआई वाली जो ब्रीच ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड रिक्लासिफिकेशन इन दैट सिनेरियो, ये तो हमने बताया। साथ में ओसीआई का एक कंपोनेंट है, वो भी आपको ध्यान रखना है। ओसीआई की अकाउंटिंग करते हैं, ओसीआई क्या है। आपके मोस्ट ऑफ द इंटरव्यूज में जो फ्रेशर्स के क्वालिफिकेशन में एक क्वेश्चन होता है कि ओसीआई क्या है, ओसीआई के कंपोनेंट्स क्या हैं, ओसीआई की अकाउंटिंग में क्या कौन से आइटम आते हैं। मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स ओसीआई ही नहीं बता पाते। बेसिक क्या है उसके अंदर, क्लास दो चीजें होती हैं जो साइकिलिंग और रिसाइकल, और क्लासिफाइड और डिक्लासिफाइड। नॉन जो कि आपका कन्वर्ट इनटू पीनल, क्लासिफाई इनटू पीनल होता है, जो कि क्लासिफाई इनटू पीनल नहीं होता। और कौन से आइटम्स हैं ओसीआई के, आइटम्स फिक्स हैं आपके उसमें दिए हुए हैं, 7 to 8 आइटम, सिर्फ वही बस आपके ओसीआई में आएंगे, उसके बियॉन्ड कुछ नहीं आता ओसीआई में। ये आपको पता होना चाहिए, ये आपके आगे के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट, एग्जाम के पर्सपेक्टिव से इंपॉर्टेंट है, पर इसके आगे भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ये आपको इंटरव्यू में भी बहुत पूछा जाएगा, क्योंकि बहुत बेसिक स्टैंडर्ड है, और ये बेसिक चीज है जो आपको नॉलेज में बतानी है, आपको करके नहीं दिखानी है, आपको नॉलेज में बतानी है, वहां पे भी लोग नहीं बता पाते हैं। ठीक है। 16 मैंने आपसे ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर लिया। इन डेज 7 स्टेटमेंट ऑफ कैश फ्लोज में 3 तरह की एक्टिविटीज हैं, ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी, इन्वेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी, फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटी। और इन्हीं एक्टिविटीज के अंदर कैसे आपको अकाउंटिंग करनी है, ये आप इस पिक्चर को मत जाइएगा, पिक्चर में जो फिगर्स दिए तो हाइपोथेटिकल है। मीन आपको जो चेंजेस देखने हैं वो आप देखिए कि क्या होता है। हाँ, सॉरी, कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंट की अकाउंटिंग जरूर ध्यान रखिएगा, तो ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। इसमें कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंट में ही आपका फॉरेन करेंसी का जो ट्रांसलेशन का है वो आपको यहाँ पे यू हैव टू चेक दैट। ओके, मूविंग टू नेक्स्ट इज कैटेगरी सी। कैटेगरी सी में जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हमने डाल रखे हैं, दोज इंडेज आर वेरी frequently not asked. It is not that ki every attempt it is asked or every alternate attempt it is asked. It is not like that. It may be after 2 to 3 attempts a question is asked, and questions are asked for 5 marks, 6 marks maximum. Okay, sometimes maybe of even 8 marks, not more than that, because except financial instrument, except your India's 103 or 110, that is group based financial statement, consolidated financial statement. Beyond that, no question is asked for 10 marks. Okay, so every question will be maximum of 8 marks or 6 marks, 5 marks, 4 marks. That would be the combination. So आपको इससे है कि जितने बड़े बड़े क्वेश्चंस है ना, वो आपको लगते हैं जो 8 मार्क्स के बियॉन्ड है, आप उनको चाहे तो स्किप कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप उनको पढ़ सकते हैं तो ब्रेक करके पढ़ सकते हैं, इसमें से कुछ एडजस्टमेंट पूछी जाएंगी, कुछ नहीं पूछी जाएंगी। ठीक है। एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट एंड योर प्रोविजंस, इंडिया 37 का ये मैं आपको बता चुकी हूँ। एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट्स में मैं बता देती हूँ क्या पूछा जा सकता है। चांसेस आपके एक तरीके सिक लीव का वाला क्वेश्चन इस बार ये आया था, आपका मेडिकल लीव, सिक लीव आपको दी जा रही है, प्रिविलेज लीव्स हैं, तो कैसे अकाउंटिंग करनी है, उसमें आपको सिर्फ बताना था कितनी लीव्स की अकाउंटिंग करनी है। वैल्यू नहीं दी है, वैल्यू नहीं निकालना, सिर्फ आपको बताना था कितनी लीव्स की अकाउंटिंग करनी है। मेन जो क्वेश्चन इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट है वो आपका जो प्लान एसेट्स और प्लान लायबिलिटीज होती हैं, और उसका ओसीआई में कितना जाएगा, कितना आपका पीएनएल में जाएगा। ये आपके टेस्ट नॉलेज में क्वेश्चंस दिए हुए हैं, प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन में दिए हुए हैं, डिफरेंट मैनर से दिए हुए हैं। दो अलग अलग एसेट और लायबिलिटी का दिया, एक दोनों का डिफरेंस निकाल के दिया। दोनों तरीके से कर लीजिएगा, आंसर सेम आता है। आपको दोनों मेथड इतने श्योर होने चाहिए कि इधर से पूछ ले या उधर से पूछ ले, बन जाए। तो ये आपका एक क्वेश्चन वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक आपकी, अगर रिटायरमेंट के बेनिफिट के लिए आपको 5 साल पहले एक एम्प्लॉय आया और 5 साल बाद रिटायर होना है, तो उसकी सैलरी में इंक्रीज हो रहा है हर साल, ऑब्वियस एनुअल इंक्रीमेंट होती है। तो इन दैट केस आप कैसे अकाउंटिंग करोगे? रिटायरमेंट हमेशा डेट ऑफ जो बर्थ होता है उस बेसिस पे होती है, कंप्लीशन ऑफ ईयर्स के हिसाब से नहीं होती। ठीक है। तो इसीलिए आपको कितने इंक्रीमेंट्स लगाने हैं, कैसे अकाउंटिंग होगी, मॉडिफिकेशन होगा तो मॉडिफिकेशन के कारण से जो चेंज हुआ एग्जिस्टिंग लायबिलिटी और री कैलकुलेटेड लायबिलिटी का, उसकी अकाउंटिंग कहाँ जाएगी? पीएनएल में, है ना। आपकी एक्चुअल वैल्यूएशन हुआ, उसके कारण से अगर चेंज इन वैल्यूएशन हो रहा है तो उसकी ओसीआई में वैल्यूएशन होगी। ये सब आपको कंसिडर करना है इंडेस 19 में। ठीक है। ओके। इन्वेंट्री में बहुत सिंपल से जो है, आपको जैसे आपकी पीपी में रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ एसेट्स होता था, वैसे यहाँ पे रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यूएशन कितनी कैपिटलाइज करनी है, फिक्स एलिमेंट, फिक्स ओवरहेड कितना है, उस कितना पोर्शन लेना है, वेरिएबल ओवरहेड कितना लेना है, रॉ मटेरियल का वैल्यूएशन है कि फिनिश गुड्स का वैल्यूएशन है। इन केस इट्स द फिनिश गुड वैल्यूएशन, कॉस्ट और एनआरवी विच एवर इज लेस, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू रॉ मटेरियल वैल्यूएशन यू हैव टू, देयर इज नो एनआरवी कॉन्सेप्ट। रॉ मटेरियल की वैल्यूएशन के लिए इधर कॉस्ट और रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट। तो कॉस्ट आपकी कब होगी? जब आपकी फिनिश गुड्स जो है वो आपका कॉस्ट पे वैल्यू होगा, तो ये भी कॉस्ट पे होगा। लेकिन अगर फिनिश गुड्स आपका एनआरवी है, देन इज नेट रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू है। एनआरवी कब आता है? जब फिनिश कॉस्ट, कॉस्ट से कम वैल्यू आपकी। सो कॉस्ट और एनआरवी विच एवर इज लेस। तो एनआरवी पे कब आप आओगे? जब कॉस्ट से कम वैल्यू है फिनिश गुड्स की। अगर फिनिश गुड्स कॉस्ट से कम की वैल्यू पे मेजर करता है, यानी एनआरवी पे मेजर करता है, तो हम यहाँ पे रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट को कंसिडर करते हैं, कॉस्ट नहीं करते। फिनिश गुड्स कॉस्ट पे है तो रिप्लेसमेंट, सॉरी, फिनिश गुड्स अगर कॉस्ट पे तो रॉ मटेरियल भी कॉस्ट पे रहेगा। फिनिश गुड्स अगर एनआरवी पे है तो रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट यूज होगी। ओके। ये आपको इसमें है एक जॉइंट प्रोडक्ट का क्वेश्चन है, वो आपको इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो आप देख के रखिए। इन्वेंट्री वैल्यूएशन में 3-4 एस्पेक्ट्स हैं। फिक्स कितना कंपोनेंट, फिक्स के 3 एलिमेंट्स हैं। अगर आपकी फिक्स ओवरहेड ज्यादा है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके पास 10 लाख की नॉर्मल कैपेसिटी है प्रोडक्शन की, आपके पास 1 लाख आपकी फिक्स ओवरहेड्स होती है। फिक्स ओवरहेड्स क्या है, जैसे कि आपका एक पर्टिकुलर रेंटल है, वो आपका हर महीने जाना ही जाना है ना। कुछ वेरिएशंस हैं जो आपकी फिक्स है, वो डाउन का रेंट है, इधर का रेंट है, ये इतने लेबर, इतनी सैलरी जो जाती है लेबर्स को, वो फिक्स ओवरहेड्स है। तो वो आपकी फिक्स वैल्यू को, 1 लाख की हमारी फिक्स ओवरहेड है और हमारी 10,000 की नॉर्मल कैपेसिटी है, तो हमने निकाल दिया पर वैल्यू विच कम्स टू ₹10। ₹10 पर आपकी यूनिट आ गई। अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपकी यूनिट्स जो मैन्युफैक्चर हुई थी वो 8,000 ही मैन्युफैक्चर हुई। अब 8,000 मैन्युफैक्चर की, तो 8,000 इंटू 10, हम 80,000 तो नहीं करेंगे हम कॉस्ट में। हमें तो फिक्स का मतलब है कि मैंने 1 लाख का खर्चा तो हर टाइम करना ही करना है, ईयरली हमें करना ही करना है 1 लाख। तो मैं 80,000 को कैसे बुक करूं, तो 20,000 को कहीं तो बुक करना है। चलिए, हमें 80,000 को हम क्या करेंगे, एसेट इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यू में बुक कर देंगे, और 20,000 को हम पीएनएल में बुक कर देंगे। पर हम करेंगे पूरा 1 लाख को बुक। ओके। हाउएवर, अगर आपकी 10,000 की कैपेसिटी थी और आपने प्रोडक्शन कर लिया फॉर से एग्जाम्पल 12,000, तो 12,000 में अब आप 12,000 इंटू 10 करके फिक्स ओवरहेड पर यूनिट जो आपने निकाली थी, आप 1,20,000 तो चार्ज नहीं कर सकते, खर्चा तो मैंने सिर्फ 1 लाख का किया है। 1,20,000 कैसे चार्ज करेंगे हम? तो इन दैट केस हम क्या करेंगे, पूरा सिर्फ 1 लाख को ही यहाँ पे इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यूएशन में यूज करेंगे। यानी मेरी पर यूनिट वैल्यू रिड्यूस हो जाएगी, लेकिन मेरा खर्चा पूरा पूरा 1 लाख जाना है। यानी अगर आपने साल में 1 लाख का फिक्स ओवरहेड खर्चा किया, तो आपकी बुक में डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली 1 लाख की बुकिंग होनी है। अब उसमें से कुछ पोर्शन अगर आप इन्वेंट्री में कम बुक कर रहे हो तो पीएनएल में ले जाओ, और अगर आपने पूरा प्रोडक्शन यूटिलाइज किया कैपेसिटी, तो आप पूरा पूरा 1 लाख जो है वो आप पीएनएल अपनी इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यूएशन में ले जाओ। ज्यादा का यूटिलाइज प्रोडक्शन कर दिया तब भी आप 1 ही लाख लेके जा पाओगे, उससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकते अपने आप। जो हुआ नहीं वो खर्चा नहीं करेंगे हम, एक्चुअल दिखाना है। इन्वेंट्री वैल्यूएशन। Okay, Shubh is asking, is possible to get this PDF uploaded for future reference? I'll do that, otherwise ये रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर में आपको मिलेगा बेटा, तो ये आपको रहेगी, पर मैं कोशिश करूंगी आपको पीपीटी की पीडीएफ वर्जन में अवेलेबल करा दूं मैं वेबसाइट पे। ओके, आपकी बीओएस नॉलेज पोर्टल पे ही आई गेट इट डन। ओके, एनी अदर रिक्वेस्ट यू हैव, यू कैन मेक इट। ओके, ड्यूरिंग द सेशन आई एम देयर फॉर यू टू रिजॉल्व एनी काइंड ऑफ क्वेरी। ओके, इन्वेंट्रीज के बाद अब आपके पास है अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज, चेंजेस इन अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेट्स एंड एरर्स। ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्टैंडर्ड है आपकी अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए, क्योंकि इस तरह की चीजें तो हमेशा होती है। एरर तो देखो कभी भी होती है, ह्यूमन बीइंग्स है तो एरर होंगी। आपकी अपनी प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में भी ये होता है, तो अकाउंटिंग कैसी करनी है। इसी साल का मिस्टेक थी या एरर था, या कोई चेंज इन अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी हुआ, आपने इसी साल रेक्टिफाई कर दिया। पिछले साल की थी तो आपने कंपैरेटिव में को स्टेट करके रेक्टिफाई कर दिया। अगर पिछले से पिछले साल की थी, 2 साल, 3 साल, 4 साल पुरानी थी, तो इन दैट केस आप क्या करोगे, आप सिर्फ हर 4 साल को ओपन करने नहीं जा पाओगे। तो आप क्या करोगे, करंट ईयर की बैलेंस शीट में तो रेक्टिफिकेशन करोगे अगर उसका इंपैक्ट आ रहा है। कंपैरेटिव जो कंपैरेटिव कब बनाते हैं, प्रीवियस ईयर का, तो प्रीवियस ईयर की में भी आप अगर इंपैक्ट आया तो उसको भी आप रेक्टिफाई करोगे। प्लस अगर पिछले 4 साल से मिस्टेक चली आ रही है, तो 4 साल का ना खोल के आप क्या करोगे, ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट। ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट क्या होती है, पिछले साल की बिगिनिंग। ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आप अकाउंटिंग ईयर आपका जो है ये है 24-25, तो कंपैरेटिव ईयर क्या हो जाएगा, 23-24। तो 23-24 पूरा साल कंपैरेटिव ईयर है, और 23 यानी कि 1 अप्रैल 23 को बैलेंस शीट अगर आप जो बनाते हो उसे हम कहते हैं ओपनिंग बैलेंस शीट। प्रीवियस ईयर का बिगिनिंग पीरियड, प्रीवियस ईयर का बिगिनिंग पीरियड 1 अप्रैल 2023, इस डेट पे आप बैलेंस शीट हमेशा एक पर्टिकुलर डेट की बनती है। प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस जो है आपका, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट लॉस, वो पूरे साल का होता है, फॉर अ ईयर, फॉर द पीरियड एंडिंग ऑन। बैलेंस शीट एज एट, है ना, तो बैलेंस शीट एक डेट की होती है। तो इस डेट की जो बैलेंस शीट होगी, उसमें जो आपकी रिटेन अर्निंग आ रही होगी, हम उसको एडजस्ट कर देते हैं। ठीक है, क्योंकि ये रिटेन अर्निंग क्या है, पिछले कई सालों से जो आपकी अर्निंग प्रॉफिट बचता आ रहा है, आप एक्यूमुलेट करते जा रहे हो, वो रिटेन अर्निंग है। उसी को आप एडजस्ट कर देंगे विथ रिस्पेक्टिवली, अगर किसी एसेट लायबिलिटी पे इंटेक्ट है तो। अगर आपकी बहुत पुरानी कोई एरर थी जो कि इस साल आपने नोटिफाई करी, या फिर आपके ऑब्जर्वेशन में आई और आपने उसको रेक्टिफाई कर रहे हो, तो आपको इस साल का बैलेंस शीट सुधारनी है, पिछले साल की कंपैरेटिव बैलेंस शीट सुधारनी है, प्लस आपको बिगिनिंग की, यानी कि 1 अप्रैल 2023 हम एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं, तो उस बनाए तो थर्ड बैलेंस शीट से हम कहते हैं ये थर्ड, दिस इज योर थर्ड बैलेंस शीट डेट। तो ये आप इसको, इस डेट की जो बैलेंस शीट है उसको रेक्टिफाई करोगे। ये आपको याद रखना है जब आपकी कई सालों की मिस्टेक है। अगर आपकी इसी साल की है तो पिछले साल का भी कंपैरेटिव भी नहीं छेड़ना आपको। अगर आपकी पिछले साल की है तो कंपैरेटिव भी छेड़िए, करंट ईयर में इंपैक्ट आ रहा है तो करंट ईयर में भी करिए, लेकिन और पुराना यानी थर्ड बैलेंस शीट बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है। ओके। इंडियस इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी, इसकी वैल्यूएशन प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट की तरह होती है, इसमें भी इम्पेयरमेंट होता है जैसे उसमें हो रहा है। जो ओनली डिफरेंस जो आपको एक नई चीज पढ़ने को मिलेगी वो ये है कि अगर आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी एक तो कब क्लासिफाई होती है, जो आपकी डेफिनेशन के बेसिस पे इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी से आप मूव कर रहे हो प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट यानी ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी टू प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट, और इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी टू इन्वेंट्री। आपने क्लासिफिकेशन बदल दिया, जो ट्रांसफर ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन है, तो उसके बेसिस पे अकाउंटिंग क्या होगी, ये आपको ध्यान देना है। अकाउंटिंग की मेजरमेंट, क्योंकि यहाँ पे चेंज जो हो रहा है वो चेंज इन अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी है, पर लेकिन आपको ये क्लासिफिकेशन का जो चेंज है इसके कारण से वैल्यूएशन में क्या चेंज आएगा ये आपको इंडेस 40 बताएगा इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी में, और वो आपको याद रखना है। उल्टा भी हो सकता है, आप पहले इन्वेंट्री वैल्यू करते थे, आज की डेट में से आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी बना दिया। पहले आप पीपीटी क्लासिफाई कर रहे थे और आप पीपीई से आपने उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी क्लासिफाई कर दिया, तो क्या अकाउंटिंग होगी। ओके। अच्छा, सुमित इज आस्किंग फॉर प्लीज समराइज दी अमेंडमेंट्स। सुमित, एक्चुअली आई हैव नॉट टेकन दी अमेंडमेंट्स, मैंने इस समय नहीं लिया था क्योंकि अमेंडमेंट्स ज्यादा है आपकी और वो कवर अप करने में टाइम लगेगा। फिर भी मैं आपको मोटा मोटा मैंने आपको ब्रीफ कर दिया था, मैं आपको बता देती हूँ। लेट मी जस्ट कवर कैटेगरी सी एंड देन आई ट्राई टू समराइज इट। मैं एटलीस्ट आपको इंडियस 21 आपको समराइज कर देती हूँ, ठीक है। मैं मोटा मोटा फिर भी बताया था, फिर भी लेट मी जस्ट गो थ्रू दैट। इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी के बाद इंडिया 101 फर्स्ट टाइम अडॉप्शन ऑफ इंडियन अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड। फर्स्ट टाइम अडॉप्शन ऑफ इंडियन अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड में आपके कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं जो सिमिलर नेचर के आते हैं, जैसे शेयर बेस्ड पेमेंट की अकाउंट अगर आपका था, एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है आपका ट्रांजिशन पीरियड पे, तो आप क्या अकाउंटिंग करोगे। आपकी कोई क्लासिफिकेशन, बेसिकली क्या रिक्लासिफिकेशन हो रहा है, रिकंसिलेशन का एक कॉन्सेप्ट है इसमें, कि जब आप ट्रांजिशन करते हैं तो आपको रिकंसिलेशन भी दिखाना होता है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ये आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, ठीक है। इंडेस 105 में आपकी दो बार वैल्यूएशन होती है, जब आप इसको पीपी से नॉन उसमें मान लेते हो हेल्ड फॉर सेल पे, और हेल्ड फॉर सेल की जब आप उसको आपने मतलब एक फेयर वैल्यू करी और आपने इसका फेयर वैल्यू किया और आपने इसको हेल्ड फॉर सेल पे करा, तो जिस डेट पे आप क्लासिफिकेशन कर रहे हो पहले उस डेट की फेयर वैल्यूएशन करोगे, एक वो आपकी इम्पेयरमेंट के लिए निकालोगे, और फिर आप दूसरा देखोगे जब आप उसको हेल्ड फॉर सेल पे क्लासिफाई कर रहे हो। रिलेटेड पार्टी डिस्क्लोजर, इसका कोई भी क्वेश्चन करिएगा चार्ट बना के करिएगा। चार्ट बनाने से आपको फ्लो पता चल जाएगा रिलेशन का, और फिर आपके लिए करना इजी हो जाएगा, ठीक है। कंसेप्चुअल फ्रेमवर्क, जनरली क्वेश्चन नहीं आते हैं। इंट्रोडक्शन टू इंडियस आपको कंसेप्चुअली पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आपका जो ये फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट की जो फॉर्मेट्स हैं यही मेंशन्ड है कि आपको डिवीजन 2 फॉलो करना है, ठीक है। मैंडेटरीली फॉलो करना है व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रिपरेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट फॉर्मेट्स के लिए। अकाउंटिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी से क्वेश्चन एक बार आता ही है, एक एमसीक्यू और एक आपकी उसमें डिस्क्रिप्टिव पार्ट में। प्रोफेशनल एथिक्स पे आएगा, डिस्क्रिप्टिव या फिर टेक्नोलॉजी पे आएगा। ज्यादातर क्वेश्चंस आपने अगर देखे होंगे तो टेक्नोलॉजी पे ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस आते हैं। ओके। एग्रीकल्चर का आप देखिएगा ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस नहीं है इसमें, आपको मेन आपकी इसमें कैटल वैल्यूएशन आपको देखनी है। जब लॉस ऑन ट्रांजेक्शन हो रहा है एट द टाइम ऑफ परचेज और सेल, उसकी कैसे अकाउंटिंग करते हैं। जब आपके बायोलॉजिकल एसेट्स की वैल्यूएशन कैसे बदल रही है और उन वैल्यूएशन को कैसे लेना है बायोलॉजिकल एसेट्स की, ठीक है। ये आपको इसकी अकाउंटिंग में कंसिडर करना है। 108 ऑपरेटिंग सेगमेंट्स में आपको कौन सा सेगमेंट ऑपरेटिंग सेगमेंट है, रिपोर्टेबल सेगमेंट्स है कि नहीं है, ऑपरेटिंग सेगमेंट्स हैं तो रिपोर्टेबल है कि नहीं है। प्लस आपके एक प्रॉपर फुल क्वेश्चन है आपका दिया हुआ है ऑपरेटिंग सेगमेंट की, कैसे आपको बैलेंस शीट में लेकर आना है, वो आपकी अकाउंटिंग देखनी है। इन्वेस्टमेंट इन एसोसिएट्स एंड जॉइंट वेंचर, इक्विटी मेथड फॉलो होगा। इक्विटी मेथड में डिविडेंड की वैल्यूएशन आपको रीवैल्यूएशन की, और बोनस कुछ है या डिविडेंड दिया तो उसकी वैल्यूएशन, कितना पोर्शन ओसीआई में कितना पीएनएल में, ये इस यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट आपको ध्यान देना है। जॉइंट अरेंजमेंट्स में जॉइंट अरेंजमेंट आपकी जॉइंट वेंचर को लीड करती हैं या जॉइंट ऑपरेशंस, क्लासिफिकेशन और दोनों की अकाउंटिंग का अंतर है। जब आप जॉइंट ऑपरेशंस करते हैं तो सिर्फ आप अपने अपने प्रॉफिट को लेते हैं, जब आप जॉइंट अरेंजमेंट की बात करते हैं तो नेट एसेट बेसिस पे आप प्रॉफिट कैलकुलेशन करते हैं। महिमा इज आस्किंग एमसीक्यू में अच्छा स्कोर करने के लिए कौन से चैप्टर्स पे फोकस करना चाहिए। बेटा देखो, बहुत भी थिन लाइन है। कोई भी इलस्ट्रेशन आपका एमसीक्यू के फॉर्म में भी पूछा जा सकता है। मोस्टली आप क्वेश्चंस जो भी देखोगे कोई भी आइडेंटिफाइड नहीं है, आपकी स्टडी मटेरियल में से इलस्ट्रेशंस को ही उन्होंने एमसीक्यू के फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर रखा है। इंटीग्रेटेड सिनेरियो टाइप बना देते हैं, पर कोई पर्टिकुलर ऐसा कुछ भी बाइफर्केशन नहीं है कि इसमें से एमसीक्यू पूछा जाएगा। ज्यादातर प्रोबेबिलिटी ये होती है कि सेक्शन वाइज आपको देख रहे होते हैं। मैंने एक बहुत पहले आपको चार्ट भी दिया होगा, आई डोंट नो कि मैंने अभी मेरे पास है कि नहीं, मैं देखती हूँ, मैंने यहाँ पे शायद होगा। यस, दिस इज द चार्ट। देखिए मैंने आपको आइडेंटिफाई कर रखे हैं सेक्शन, ये सेक्शन वन से सेक्शंस हैं, उन सेक्शन की डिफरेंट वेटेज दी हुई है, और हर सेक्शन से कितने मार्क्स या एमसीक्यू है जो मैंडेटरी है, पूछा ही जाएगा, और डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन के लिए रेंज दी हुई है। इस फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपका सेक्शन वन में आपके इंडेस 1 आता है, 34 आता है, 7 आता है, 8 आता है, 10 आता है, 113 आता है। ठीक है, तो इनमें से आपको डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन 8 मार्क्स से स्टार्ट, मिनिमम 8 मार्क्स का पूछा जाएगा, मैक्सिमम 13 मार्क्स का। पर एमसीक्यू दो पूछे जाएंगे, दो पूछे जाएंगे, हर एक एमसीक्यू 2 नंबर का होता है, इसलिए अगर मैं 4 मार्क्स लिख रही हूँ यानी दो एमसीक्यू आपसे पूछे जाएंगे इसमें, इस सेक्शन से। इस स्टैंडर्ड की बात नहीं कर रही मैं, इस सेक्शन से। तो इस सेक्शन में आपके पास 6 स्टैंडर्ड थे। कुछ क्वेरीज और भी हैं बेटा, मैं इसी तरह से आपको बाकी टॉपिक्स पे भी देखना है, ये चार्ट आपके लिए हेल्पफुल हो सकता है। ओके, फ्यू स्टूडेंट्स आर आस्किंग, वन इज मिस ऐश्वर्या, can it be in English? It will be useful for South people. Definitely, Aishwarya, I'll take care of this. Okay. Henceforth, I'll be speaking in English only. Okay. Mahima Bhavin is asking, ma'am, in days 37 and 19 आता तो इट इज है, पर कीवर्ड्स नहीं लिखे तो मार्क्स कट हो जाएंगे 26 एग्जाम में, हाउ टू टैकल दिस। सी स्टूडेंट्स, what happen is that sometimes you have the understanding but not the clarity. For clarity, you can only have the clarity when you are thorough with the terminology which is used in that standard. For sure it is like that. Layman language may you can write your answer in layman language, but that does not reflect your conceptual clarity. That reflects more broadly, you know the answer, you can arrive to the conclusion, but conceptual clarity is reflected only when you appreciate the terms is used in the standard. For such kind of questions where you have to use key terminologies, you have to do written practice. Written practice, only and only when you do the written practice, you'll come to know that what is the importance of those terms. If I am saying possible obligation, it means it is an obligation which is not at present. On reporting date, it is not an obligation, it will be a possible obligation, it may come, it may be materialized as an obligation in future years. Okay, so if you are saying it is a past obligation, it means the obligation or the liability exists since back. On the reporting date, this was the liability which is already existing. So using these terminologies make your answer rich, shows your conceptual clarity also. And just to practice using these terminologies, you have to do written practice of the solution. Go through the solution. I'm not saying to memorize it. Go through the solution, read the solution twice or thrice, and then close the book and write it on your own. Write it on your own. After writing it, just compare your answer with the answer given in the book. You'll find out what sentences you are missing or what language you are missing. Okay, so there you'll able to identify it, and once you identify it, just work on that. Okay, it is a simple way of tackling things. It may take time. Right now you're having 15 days, but for few chapters I'll request you to go for written practice. Professional ethics chapter, your India's 37 one chapter, some at some places like for valuation, inventory valuation, fair value measurement, there you have to be very particular about the usage of the terms. Okay. Okay, this was one thing. One more question was there. Okay, next question Mahima is asking, थ्योरी चैप्टर्स विथ फुल मार्क्स स्कोर करने के लिए समरी नोट्स जैसे बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स में सारांश है, सारांश इज देयर फॉर इंडियंस आल्सो बेटा, लेट मी शो यू। This is my BOS knowledge portal. I hope everybody is able to access to this. We come to the Saransh tab here. My screen is visible to you. Saransh, Mahima, Saransh. My Saransh is not in final because it is going for a redesigning and we are also updating it with amendments. So it is not placed at final, it is placed as other Saransh. Have you ever opened this other Saransh booklet? Just because it is your five student, this is a student portal. BOS Live is your student portal. So you should be aware with every tab. So other Saransh, click this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last mile Saransh referencer for Indian Accounting Standard. I'll click this. Every standard we having the Saransh. For example, I open India's one. See, we have Saransh. Okay. Again, if I go to other standard, say I'm opening India's. Again, I came back to here only. Okay. I go for inventories. Check this. Hope it is clear. Saransh for Indian accounting standard is very well there. In fact, this is one of the first Saransh which we issued. Okay, and I request everybody, those who are just going through this webinar, webcast, please, each and every tab of BOS knowledge portal should be used by you, should be just clicked and check what is given under that tab. Everything is useful for you. Okay, so India's Saransh is already there, one of the first Saransh, and is a premium, well appreciated Saransh. We are redesigning it. Definitely, we are redesigning it. It is taking time, and it will, because the Saransh was also a huge Saransh. So, Indian Accounting Standard, your syllabus is voluminous, so definitely your Saransh is also running into number of pages. We redesign it, and we hopefully will come it by first week of July. Okay, on 1st July we'll be able to launch it. Okay, students. Okay, I received one more query from Nilabjo Mondal. Ma'am, how to differentiate between India's 103 and 110? Question. Sometimes it's confusing to identify. See, when we are preparing consolidated financial statements, we have to apply the provisions of India's 103 because we have to calculate the goodwill or capital reserve on date of acquisition. When we are computing goodwill or capital reserve, at that point we are using India's 103. Fine. Valuation of non-controlling interest as per fair value or proportionate share basis, anything. We are using it on acquisition date. So that is your application of India's 103. After application of India's 103, on from acquisition date to the reporting date. For example, your acquisition date is 1st April, beginning of the year. Okay, say 25. And now you have to prepare CFS on 31st March 2026. So this 112 month period, here you'll be applying India's 110 because first you have to identify the compute what is the value of NCI on acquisition date, goodwill on acquisition date, capital reserve on acquisition date, post acquisition or pre acquisition profit, what we say, and after that whatever measurement we do, we consolidate, and line by line consolidation, assets PPE value of subsidiary clubbed with the PPE value of your holding parent company. Similarly, any other assets they are clubbed, any mutual transactions they are reduced. This is application of 110. So 103 and 110 goes hand by hand. Even if you are preparing it on acquisition date only. If a question does not ask you to prepare for reporting date, it asks you to prepare for acquisition date CFS. Then also till calculation of your non-controlling interest, no, sorry, non-controlling interest, your goodwill, your capital reserve, your pre-post calculation and adjustment of profit retained earning, that is 103. And then after that, when it comes preparation of balance sheet, line by line item, addition of item, and that is presentation as per 110. Okay. Okay. I was having a question here with from, just a minute. Huh? I missed one question, I guess. For ma'am, India's 37 professional ethics and other key topics. Should I practice Saransh for keywords practice also? For India's 37, you can see beta, because this Saransh we launched, which is only on Indian accounting standards. Besides that, other chapters which we have, that is not given in Saransh. For this professional ethics, we have only one chart which is there in your study material, that will be placed in your Saransh also, because it is a no, otherwise for professional ethics, we have only mentioned very clearly that the chapter is in detail discussed in your auditing paper, advanced auditing assurance and professional ethics. Yeah? That clauses, every provision, whatever is there, that is in detail discussed in your auditing paper. We are using that concept and applying that in a problem or in a practical situation. So what is given in this particular chapter would not be covered in your Saransh. It will be one chart which is already there in the study material, that will come in your Saransh also. So manner of answering is important for this particular chapter, and for this way of presentation, what we say, that you I have already discussed in this webcast also. Just first tell what should be the actual accounting as in compliance with the standard. Okay, after mentioning that, then you mention, in case CFO or the auditor do not comply with the provisions or do not give this treatment which is as per Ind AS and comes under pressure, then what should be the penalties or failures because of that, what prosecutions may be attracted. So non-compliance may lead to what professional code of ethics, that you have to mention. Compliance as per standard, and in case compliance is not done or deviation is there, then what should be the penalties and clauses, that is to be mentioned here. Okay. So for topics, for Ind-AS 37, yes, you can go through Saransh also. But a Saransh is only summary of theory of standards. We have tried to make it as comprehensive as possible, but yet brief in a pictorial format. But it will never be a substitute to your practice of practical questions. थ्योरी से कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ जाएंगे, बट उस कॉन्सेप्ट्स यू हैव टू अप्लाई. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स through Saransh, through those pictorial presentations. But when it comes to application of those concepts in practical scenarios or in numerical questions, there you have to do practice. It's like maths also. Not only arithmetical accuracy is checked, but it's like maths. Somewhere maths. Accounting up, you have to do regular practice. Then only you'll be able to get that confidence. So that's why it can the Saransh cannot be substitute of your practice. Okay, even you understand. Yes, last minute revision. You have already you are aware of the standard. You have practiced the questions, but last moment you just want to brush up your concepts. Go through Saransh. More than sufficient. Okay. Okay, where were we? You were talking about questions, topics from which MCQs are coming and topics from which descriptive questions comes. There is no clear-cut bifurcation. As you can see from the chart which is coming on your screen, you will find that from every section, we have question for objective type assessment, and we have questions for descriptive assessment also. So from every section, we are having questions. So it means from every standard question may fall in this objective type questions also, maybe theoretical question may be asked or descriptive question may be asked. So there is no clear cut bifurcation. Okay. Okay, Mahima, I hope I was able to reply your query. Okay. And any other query? Hmm? Okay, then we'll move to our few standards which were left. Let us just go through that part and we'll discuss this also. Okay, I discussed more or less, I have discussed all the category C standards also. Question paper pattern, this is not for the first time. So the question paper, you all are aware, 30% will be objective type questions, and all questions will be of 2 marks, no negative marking, no reasoning required, all are mandatory question. Okay, so you have to answer it in your OMR sheet. No reading, additional reading time of 15 minutes will be provided for this type of question paper. For descriptive questions, which will be of 70 marks, there you'll be having one external choice and one internal choice. What is external choice? You are having 6 questions. Every question is of 14 marks, but you will be allowed, you will be required, not allowed, you will be required to attempt any 5 questions. First is mandatory, remaining 4 questions out of remaining 5 questions. Okay. So total, because we are having 6 questions of 14 marks each, so question paper will be of descriptive question paper will be of 84 marks, out of which you have to attempt questions for 70 marks. Okay. You cannot do that. You are choosing one part of this question and another part of that question. You cannot do that. Questions you have to select. Okay. By internal choice, this is external choice. Internal choice is within a question, you have two subparts, and in one subpart, there is an option either or. You do this question, this subpart, or you do this subpart. Both the subparts will carry same marks. Most probably, both the subparts will be from the same section. Okay. So the designing of this question paper has been done to eradicate, or I would suggest just students should not go for selective study. Okay. Comprehensive coverage of the syllabus. Okay, study guidelines. This is very important, students. As I already discussed, our standard our topic explains that indirectly or indirectly it says all Indias are applicable as per your syllabus. However, we have removed certain Indias, or we have excluded certain Indias by way of study guidelines. Those standards are Indias 29, 117 newly notified insurance contract. Earlier we were having 104 insurance contract, that was also not applicable. So this time also that one standard India's 104 has been replaced by India's 117. India's 117 is also not applicable to you because it is an industry specific standard. We have not made it applicable. 106, this is also an industry specific standard. We have excluded this also, 114 also. And so these four standards are in entirety not applicable to you. You are not supposed to study this. Hence not covered in your study material as well. But there are certain standards which are applicable to you, but within those standards, there are certain appendices which are not applicable. So Appendix B of India's 37, Appendix A of India's 37, India's Appendix A and Appendix B of India's 37, and Appendix B of India's 16 is not applicable to you. Okay. So within the standard, certain subtopics are not excluded. That is given through study guidelines. Besides that, study guidelines also mentions the cutoff dates, and our study material applicable is November 2024 edition. However, in August 2025, we revise the study material which makes certain corrections. Okay. So because of that, we are saying ki in case you are having any older version by we mean to say reprint as August before August 2025, then please refer the web hosted study material. Okay. There are minor differences. That's why we have mentioned it as reprint. We have not come out with new edition. Otherwise, in case you are having November 2024 edition with reprint before August 25, do not buy new one. Please, I'm explain. Don't waste your money for buying the new study material. Your study material is more or less 95% same, even more than 95% is same. We have made minor corrections which came to our notice. We observed that, or with some students just sent a mail to us and we found that yes, their contentions are valid. We modified that. So that is there, and they are very minor corrections. Some corrections may be related to formatting only. So in case you're having November 2024 edition, reprint before August 25, that is also where it holds good. You can study from there. Okay. For new questions, what I do is whenever we revise the study material, I give a flow chart. In fact, not a flow chart, I give a table at the beginning of every module where we mentioned vis-a-vis the old edition, whatever significant changes we have made. And those significant changes mentions the illustrations I have added, or flow charts I have added, or any modifications with respect to answer I have done. Let me show you that also for your understanding. Okay, this is your BoS knowledge portal. Students, you will see here we are having study material. If I go through the study material at final level, English medium, applicable from May 26 onward, I have first paper, financial reporting. In financial reporting, if I go to module 1, I go to initial pages. As I am saying at the beginning of the study material, if I am going to the initial pages, I will find here. You can all see we are having after syllabus significant changes in this module vis-a-vis. Okay, significant changes vis-a-vis. Sorry, significant changes in this module vis-a-vis old module. Okay, with the old edition of the study material. So here you will find whatever questions I have added. For example, here if you see questions 6, 7, 8, 9, I have added these questions in your test and knowledge part. Some questions we shifted to from test and knowledge to practice question. So whatever we have shifted from there, everything is mentioned. So those students who are having any addition of the study material prior to November 2024, they are also not required to buy new material. They can go through these significant changes. And for these questions, go through the website, check the study material, and only take the print or just practice those questions which I have mentioned here. Okay? No need to buy the new study material. I'm not asking you to just invest another money, okay? Installment of your money, hard-earned money. Don't waste like that. Okay. Coming back to my PPT. November 2024 edition is applicable to you. Then amendments, as I told you earlier also, any amendments prior to. Okay, I'm having some queries, I believe. Okay, no further queries. I'm just coming back to my PPT. Students, as I told you earlier also, for amendments, any amendments 6 months prior to the date of examination are applicable to you. So your examination starts from 2nd May. So 2nd May, 6 months prior to the date of examination is 31st October, or we can say 1st November. So any amendments which have been issued by the ministry related to your syllabus prior to 31st October 2025 will be applicable to you. So there were two amendments which are applicable to you. One which was in May and another was in the month of August. Both falls before 31st October, therefore they are applicable to you. India is 117 is an industry specific standard, newly notified standard, but it is not applicable to you because it's an industry specific standard. Okay. One more important point is questions on AS7, 9, AS19 and 22. See, more or less, certain asset-based standards are similar. Accounting standards and Indias are similar. But there is a huge difference between certain AS and Indias. Huge difference means they are entirely different standards. Like your 1110 is the different, 103 is a different standard. Similarly, you have income taxes, which is different from your accounting standard 22. In AS 12 is different from AS 22. To certain few standards we identified where we felt the differences between AS and IND-AS may be tested in form of practical questions. Maybe of minimum 5 marks question may be asked. There it is not theory. Theory is comprehension and knowledge, that is different thing. I'm asking any practical question on differences between AS and DS. I'm not talking about the provisions of accounting standard. Where there are differences, I give a scenario and I say you and I ask you that you have to give the accounting treatment as per AS and as per NDS. It means there's a difference between both the standards. So accounting treatment will be different. For AS, there will be a different accounting treatment. There will be in India's. So we have given a table at the end of every standard where we say differences between AS vis-a-vis Ind-AS. So if you know those differences, you'll be able to apply, solve such type of questions. Okay, what would be the accounting treatment as per AS and what would be the accounting treatment as per Ind-AS? Okay. In general, no question till date, no question has been asked on this particular uh, point. However, there is probability because it's an USP, unpredictability, so questions may be asked. How to prepare, where to prepare, study material, MCQ, LVC, Saransh, RTP, suggested answer, and MTPs. Okay, let me just cater to the Sumit query to brief the amendments. See, right now I'm not having all the amendments, but I can only talk about India's 21. India's 21 is certain paragraphs have been added. One important provision has been added where it is mentioned how to determine the spot exchange rate in case of lack of exchangeability. What is lack of exchangeability? We are talking about India's 21 foreign exchange rates, translation, effects of foreign exchange translation. So it means there is an exchange where the two currencies are involved, two currencies of two different countries are involved. So on particular date, when we do any transaction, we have to translate it into a foreign currency which we are using in our books of accounts as a functional currency. Okay, for example, I purchase a machinery. I purchase machinery from, say, for example, from country Y, and I purchase a machinery, so that is an asset for me. But when I purchase a machinery, I purchase in dollars or say in any other currency, say currency C. Now I have to mention that currency in my books as per rupees because I'm using rupees as my function currency. I'm in India. So I have to translate that currency into a value of that currency or whatever amount I have paid to purchase particular asset in my books as per rupees. So I need an exchange rate. If that exchange rate is available, there's exchangeability. But in case the exchange rate is not available, what to do? We have to identify the spot exchange rate. And for that spot exchange rate, sometimes it happens that one side currency is exchangeable, other side currency is not exchangeable, or both the currencies cannot be exchanged. We do not have that. Every country ki exchange rate is not available. Suppose I am country X and I am buying from country Y. So I do not have any directly or indirectly able to identify what is the exchange rate of my currency into their or their currency into my currency. So that becomes lack of exchangeability. And in case of lack of exchangeability, what to do? There are two ways. One is that we've identified the spot exchange rate by different means, or we use some other estimation techniques. Okay, so provisions related to these two clauses have been added in India's 21 in the month of May. Notification which came in the month of May that defines how to identify the exchangeable rate, spot exchange rate, and when you are using that spot exchange rate, there can be minimum delays, operational delays, which are permissible and which are not permissible. So what are permissible? They have identified 4 5 points, and which cannot be considered as normal delay. So they have identified that also. So you have to just go through those points. Okay. And what should be the counting? How the disclosure is to be done. Broadly, I can just brief you, Sumit. In case students, if you want me to cover this amendments in detail, I can do one thing. We have a open house session every Monday from 4 to 5. Okay, you can come, just let me know. I can take one class for those amendments from 4 to 5 next Monday. Next Monday, which date will be there? Today is 13 plus 7, it will be 20. On 20th April, I can have that amendment class from 4 to 5. Okay. I'll just put a message on the WhatsApp group also. Those students who are there in the WhatsApp group of our institute's final group, CA final students, please join them. We can give the link to you. And in case you are not in that group, just let us know. We'll provide the link. Okay. Okay. Right now, from where to prepare, because it is fag end of your preparation, I cannot say that you have to go through all the publications, but yes, go through the suggested answers. Very important. Past year examination question papers are always important. It gives you to understand what kind of questions are asked, from which topic it is asked. If this standard has been asked, you'll also be able to do the trend analysis. Ki when you are doing this standard is asked in every examination, this standard is asked in alternate examination, this standard is asked after every two attempt. So you'll be able to do that trend analysis also. What kind of questions are asked for this particular marks, that you'll be able to identify. More or less similar concepts are tested from particular standards in every 2 to 3 examination. Okay. And how to present your answer, what are the coverage to be done, this you come to know from suggested answers. So suggested answers are very important at this particular stage. Okay. if you have gone through all the suggested answers, then mock test papers we have already we came out with both the series of mock test papers. You can do it. Okay, also kindly provide a WhatsApp group link. Mohan Harishchandra is asking for WhatsApp group. Shubh Mishra is also asking for WhatsApp group link. We'll put it in the chat box. Chat box में डाल दें. We'll put in the chat box and you can from there you can join it. Just wait. We'll just आप करने का मुझे बता दीजिएगा ना. So as soon as we put it in the chat box, I'll announce it. Okay. Saransh is only to, as of now, at this moment of your preparation, when 15 days are left, Saransh is only for just rebrushing the concepts. It is not a substitute for your full-time study with of the study material or practice. आपने पढ़ा हुआ है, whatever you have already studied, you feel that something you are missing in the concept, just go through Saransh and you'll Low charts are good for retention, and they also give you a quick glance and you can recollect the provisions. So Saraj will help in that way. Okay. LVC is live virtual classes. Live virtual classes help you to understand the concepts. In case you are not able to appreciate or you feel that you are not very confident with any particular topic, in that case, you can go through that particular lecture of LVC. This is there on YouTube also. We have a playlist for every LVC batch which we run, and also these recorded lectures of this current LVC and the previous LVC is on your BoS knowledge portal also. You can find it there as well. Okay, Shubha is asking, are these MTPs of exams level? I found they contain repetitive and easy question. Even in your study material, beta. See, let me just tell you one thing. In every RTP, I give you all new questions. I can very surely say all new questions. Maybe that you find that this is similar to what is given in the study material, but I try to give all new questions in the RTP because RTPs are issued in the month of February for your May examination. So somewhere you have 2 to 3 months. In case you find that particular question you are not able to solve, you can rebrush the concepts. You can again practice that chapter. So that is the point where you can study more and understand how much in-depth understanding you have for that particular topic. However, mock test papers are at the fag end. In the month of April, we completed one mock test paper, na? Series 2 of your mock test paper. This time I cannot just shatter your confidence. I want to just understand ki whatever you have studied till date, are you able to do that or not? So I'm building your confidence. My purpose here in mock test paper is to build your confidence, not to shatter it. But in RTP, my purpose is to evaluate your depth of understanding. So the purpose of both the publications are different. So at mock test paper, even if you find that questions are repetitive or it is from your study material, still attempt it. Just to understand whatever you have studied, are you able to retain that or not? The concepts, the questions, or the you are able to perform or not within that examination scenario conditions. Okay, by saying examination conditions means 3 hours continuous without referring any material as you appear in your examination. Okay, so that is exam. Okay, we have given the WhatsApp group link, students, on our chat box. This link is open for everyone of CA final student. Please use this link to join the WhatsApp group and be restrictive to only final level queries. In case you have any subject specific queries, you can post it in this WhatsApp group link and it will come to us to know. And whatever subject it is related, the concerned person, the admin person will circulate to them and give you an appropriate reply within the well in advance. Okay, within that appropriate time of say 24 hours or 48 hours. You can ask general queries also in this WhatsApp link. In fact, this is a very good platform to discuss between you all. Peers se bhi, you can talk to your peers, you can understand their preparation, you can understand. It may sometimes happen that you post a question or your peer reply you. That is also possible and that is allowed. But please don't do any nuisance in that WhatsApp group. This is an official WhatsApp group of the institute. So use it to your optimum for best purpose, for your knowledge gaining, for resolving queries, for asking any queries with us from us and getting reply. Okay, please don't misuse this WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay, we from where to prepare this I have already covered. Let me move on. Examination strategies. What we wanted, how to master the art of presentation of your answers. Present it right, score it high. Huh? So very important is that, as I told you, certain key terms should be used in your answer that reflects your conceptual clarity. So write the answer which you know best. It is not necessary that you have to start with question one, then you have to do question two, then question two A, B. No, you can just 15 minutes is given for your descriptive question paper to study the question paper, identify from the glance which question you are confident, you know that question and you'll be able to attempt it. Okay, start with that particular question. If you go through the question paper and you find, okay, question 3A, I know I can solve it. Start your your answer with question 3A, not with answer 1. Okay, so that is what answer the question which you know best. Answer on the basis of applicable position of law. Here by position of law, I mean position of your standard, notified standards, accounting standards or NDS. So whatever which is applicable for, it is mentioned for January 26th, please mention, write it as May 26th. This was the old PPT, so I forgot to just rectify here. It is May 26th. Okay, 1 week, one more question which I am having. Okay, Mohan Harishchandra Raj Purohit is asking, why do we have two separate question sections? Test knowledge question and practice question. Just need to understand the significance of both. Okay, actually, earlier we were having one section only, test knowledge questions, but this time we have two separate questions because what happens when you are studying that particular chapter, all concepts are there in your mind. So you'll be able to solve the illustrations, you'll be able to solve your test knowledge question also because you're studying that chapter. But when it is given at the end of the module, by the time you study four different topics. For example, if you're having your you started with your module 1, you studied Ind AS 1, you did your illustration, you did your test knowledge question. Then you move to your Ind AS 7, then you move to your Ind AS 34, move to Ind AS 8, Ind AS 10, then Ind AS 113. After that, you came to practice questions. Now you have gone through 6 standards. After that, when you are attempting practice questions, how much you are able to collectively utilize the understanding of 6 standards later on. What we say is that na, when whatever you study today, repeated within 24 hours, then within a week, then within a month. So this is basically within a month wala concept. Okay, so after studying 6 chapters, when you are again come back, when you are again coming back to India's 1, are you able to solve it or not? To understand that and how much clarity you are holding it or retaining it, for that we have moved certain questions to practice questions. Okay, hope I am able to reply you, Mohan. Hmm? Okay, moving on to, I had one more question. Anand Kumar N is asking, what are the various Indias covered in each of the 8 sections for weightage of MCQs and descriptive? Anand, I have already given my this PPT. There in section-wise weightage, I have mentioned every standard which is covered in particular section. I'm coming back to my section. Just a minute. Huh? Yeah, see. This is section-wise weightage. I'll take you to the link where it is given in the website also. See, here when we have mentioned in the section 1, this is your section 1, and in this section 1, the standards which I have covered is 1, 34, 7, 8, 10, and 113. It is clearly mentioned here. Similarly, when we move to India's section 2, it is only 115 which is covered. Okay. Then we move to section 3. It clearly mentions section 3 covers India's 2, 16, 23, 36, 38, 40, 105, 116 and liability based India's 19 and India's 37. Okay. Now this is what I have given in the PPT. I'll try to give it in the PDF form and upload it in the website. But let me go through the website also. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is your BoS knowledge portal. Here we came. We are scrolling it down and where we find section-wise and skill-wise weightages. This, when we click, we find foundation, intermediate, self-paced, and final. I'm clicking to final. Here. Okay. When we click to final, first paper which we will get is of your financial reporting section-wise weightage. See, Every section I have covered here. This is section 1, and this section 1 is continuously moving to, if we scroll down, merge cell is there, and India is 1, 34, 7, moving on to chapter 2, 8, 10, 13 is there. Okay, now this full stop. Section 2, 115. Okay, section 3, it covers 3. There's a merge cell here. See, this is a merge cell here. 16, 23, everything is mentioned. So I navigated you to the BOS knowledge portal also, where the section wise weightage has been uploaded. There also, with every section we have mentioned what are the standards which are covered there. Okay. And in my PPT also this is covered. I'll give this PPT as a in PDF format to the team, this EDP team, and they'll upload it on this BOS knowledge portal. This they'll upload it with this webinar webcast. Okay. Okay, Sara Navid is asking a question. I missed another other question or what? Okay, no. After Anand Kumar. Sara Navid is asking, ma'am, in consolidation question, can we start with working note and then prepare consolidated balance sheet and related? Yes, yes, you can do that. See, students, what we give in our suggested answer is the ideal way of doing things, because that is a publication we are releasing it. But examination, you are having only 3 hours. That 3 hours is to show your knowledge, but not to just do as what is given in the suggested answer. If you are starting with your working notes, completely okay. Do all the working notes, then prepare a balance sheet. But don't do in this manner that working note, balance sheet, working note, then balance sheet. Mess नहीं करना है ना. Don't make any mess of it. We have a separate version. There are two ways of doing things. Leave appropriate space for balance sheet. Say if you feel that your balance sheet will take 1.5 page, leave 2 pages. After 2 pages, start working note. Or you start with working note as you are comfortable. Start with working note, come arrive all the do all the workings, and then place the figures in the appropriate balance sheet wherever appropriate places. Okay, that is allowed, completely allowed, but it should be very clear. Don't make it ki half working notice before balance sheet, half working notice at the end of the balance sheet. Whatever you do, in case you are preparing 8 working notes and you feel there can be, when I am solving or when I'll come to balance sheet, I may feel that I have to do 2 more workings. So leave appropriate space after that and then start with the balance sheet, so that mess is not there and examiner is able to identify how you have moved on. Okay. Okay. Any other question, Sarah? Mhm. Okay. I have done this also. I was there in the examination strategy. No? I'm just scrolling again and again with my PPT. हमें मेरी PPT PDF version में कर दिया है. So I'm not able to go to that. Okay. How to master the questions. First question to be done in which you are most confident. Then based on your applicable, like amendments have been released. For India's one, certain amendments have been released, and those amendments are replacing the existing standard. This is basically related to breach of covenant. Okay, so you have to apply based on the recent notifications or recent amendment in India's one. In case your question comes in your examination with respect to breach of covenants, then you have to apply the provisions which is mentioned in the amendment, not as per the earlier provisions. Okay, so that care you have to take for. नहीं नहीं, we have to complete by 10 minutes ना. 10 मिनट में बस 2 hours का session है ना. We'll be winding up in 10 minutes, so I'm not giving any session ना. It is not for 3 hours ना. इस वजह से. Master your presentation. So for mastering your presentation, it is very one thing which I already told you, don't make mess of your solution. Just be very clear. Your working should be separate, your main solution should be separate. It is not important that you are first doing your main solution and then presenting your working note. Whatever you do, it should be very legible, with legible handwriting, very clean, very understood, proper. There's no lack of answer sheet. You can take more extra sheets also to do your solutions, no issues, but do it very cleanly. Okay, so that examiner is also have a good impression of your answer sheet. Okay. Okay, one more question. What is the amendment in Ind AS 1? Can you please summarize? So with respect to Ind AS 1, we at the end when it comes to para 72, 73, 74, and 75, where we have mentioned in Ind AS 1 breach of contracts. Breach of contract is because non-compliance of certain covenants. If you are not complying those covenants, in that case, your liability is classified as current instead of non-current. Okay. Now there was a carve out between Ind AS and IFRS where they were saying even if you comply with you rectify the breach, still Ind AS, sorry, IFRS says that it has to be classified as current liability because on reporting date you are not you have not you have breached the contract or you have breached any of the covenants which you have not complied with and you were not able to rectify before approval of the financial statement, so that will be classified as current. However, India says that even if it is a breach of covenant on reporting date, but I am rectifying it before approval of financial statement, then it will be classified as non-current. This was a carve out. Now that carve out has been mitigated. We have removed that carve out. As per the amendment, if it is not classified, it is that there is a breach of covenant, then in that case, it will be classified as current. Even though that liability was to be classified as non-current, but because of breach of contract, it has to be classified as current. So I see right now I was not prepared for those amendments. That's why I'll be taking a separate class for your open house session at 4 from 4 to 5 on 20th April. That is Monday. Monday is my session, open house session from evening 4 to 5. In this WhatsApp group, I'll just give a mention of that. Okay? नहीं फाइनल शेड्यूल ओके लेट मी टेक यू नहीं ये तो शेड्यूल्स पे जाना पड़ेगा ना let me try to take it. Let me try to take you. Okay. This is BOS knowledge portal. I go to LVC schedule. Haan. This is LVC schedule. If you go through this LVC schedule at final. Huh? Sorry. Here you'll find open house sessions also from 4 to 5 evening. If you see this is given for. I'm coming. See. For example, what is coming in your screen? 28 July. My pen is not working, but row number 21. You can check row number 21. April financial reporting open house query session 4 to 5. Similarly, if you scroll down, you'll come to see for the upcoming 20th April. I'm just scrolling down to the current date. See. It is not mentioned here, but we'll add it here. The open house session is here. Is it 13th? है ना वो निकल गया ना. For coming, we'll update this schedule. For 20th April, we'll add it here, and from there you can join it. Okay. For right now, for 20th April, it is not there on the schedule. We'll update this. We'll inform through WhatsApp also. There, I'll specifically take the amendments, all the amendments with respect to your India's 21, India's 1, India's 7, India's 12. Every amendment which is there in both the notification, I'll cover it. Okay. Okay, Lakshmi Narayan is asking to share the WhatsApp link once again. So we'll do that. We'll do that, Lakshmi. We are adding it. Okay. So coming back to my slides, underline the key points. When you are answering yours, in case you're very confident, these are important things which examiner should notice it in your solution. You can underline that also. But use same pen. Don't use any other pen. Okay. Okay, mastering application-based questions. Supplement computation with clear explanatory notes stating relevant verbs. See, here one important thing which I would like to mention is that in every question you'll have a requirement. Verbs, which can be say verbs, taxonomy. So we have some verbs. For example, discuss, comment, recommend, evaluate, present, disclose, determine, compute, calculate, whatever. Na? So every word has a separate meaning. If I say explain, To explain means it is not only computation, but you have to explain the provision. When I say discuss or when I say recommend, while coming to a conclusion, you have to recommend means you have to give a conclusion. And when you are giving a conclusion, conclusion may be one way of presenting your answer, may be some computation, but not only computation. For that, you have to substantiate with the provision also. So recommend means you have to mention the provision, give the figures, whatever computation you did, and then include both and give the conclusion. Okay, so you have to supplement your computation based on the requirement of the question. It is discuss. It is only to compute, then do the computation. It is only to account for present, then pass the general entries. It is only general entries. It's okay. But where it is mentioned as presentation, then presentation, either you prepare the extracts or you explain the presentation or you prepare an extract of balance sheet or statement of P&L and place that item there. Okay, in the form of presentation, or you explain that presentation. That is also acceptable. Hmm? That is with reasoning for each item. Follow the instructions. Instructions use only blue or black pen as specified in the instructions. That instruction is given in the answer sheet, beginning of the answer sheet. An instruction sheet is also given. When you have filled the examination form, at that time also instruction sheet was provided to you. You can go through that before in your admit card also. With admit card, one page of instruction sheet is there. Go through that very carefully. Okay. Format, page format. If you are doing question 2A, then your answer question 2B should also be in continuation to 2A, then 2B. In case you are not able to attempt, you are confident with question 2A, but you are not confident with question 2B, leave space. Again, if you feel it is a theory question of 4 marks, leave one entire page or 1.5 page and then move to the separate page. Every question should start from a fresh page. Okay, don't start from the mid of the page. Every question means question 2, question 3, not sub part. Okay, and even if you ask me, I prefer to start sub part also from the fresh page. I prefer that to make my answer sheet very clean and very noticeable. I prefer starting even the sub parts from the new page. Okay. Okay, tracking your progress means if you have, sometimes it happens ki because of hurriness you leave some question, though you have time or you know it how to solve it, but you leave it unintentionally. So for that it is there, please, while doing the answer, just tick you have done 2A, you are doing 2B, or 2B is yet to be answered. Just tick whatever you do it. So at the end when you go through the question paper, you can realize that मैंने ये कर लिया, ये नहीं किया. Or sometimes a question carries 2 or 3 requirements. For example, I say pass journal entry, also pass in the, also show the balance sheet. Okay, so what we do, we pass journal entry and forget to present it in the balance sheet or give the balance sheet. So in even at the end of the question, if the one line statement which is there, which gives you the requirement what to do, there may be some sub number of requirements. Just tick whatever you do. This is tracking your progress. Okay. Again, we have added the WhatsApp link in the chat box. Okay. Pre-exam preparation, proper rest, sleep. But sometimes it happens we don't understand the value of sleep at this young age. Na, you won't be able to appreciate that. But yes, sleep is very, very important because it keeps your mind peace at calm. And that is very much necessary. When you are attempting this, when you're doing question paper in your examination, don't think about कि मुझे, if this I'm not able to do it fully or my time is less, I have to complete a lot. Just do it without thinking of the repercussions, without thinking of the end result. It is that you have to do it एक के बाद एक, without thinking what is going on, what will be the end result. Do it, na? Then only you'll be able to perform better. Stress may you always perform better. It is always said कि once people perform better in when they are in stress, but over stress may lead to commit mistakes also. So that should be not done. And for that, it is very important that you are calm. And for calm, it is should be that your balanced diet is there. You have taken proper rest, है ना? And read the instructions very carefully. stay away from distractions. Always said, everybody in every profession where the guidance is provided, it always says stay away from distractions. Distractions are social media, WhatsApp, your Instagram, your Twitters, your LinkedIn's, whatever you are using social media, just stay away with it. In fact, my sincere advice is that discuss with your friends only when they are positive. In case you feel that they are giving you some jitterness, some nervousness, like मेरा तो इतना हो गया, I have done 5 chapters and you are only on third chapter, just avoid discussing with those friends right at the end. Na? Because peer competition is required, but not at this point of time. At this point of time, you have to focus in your preparation. Whatever you have done, you have to rebrush, you have to re-practice, not to focus on what they have done, where they are standing. You have to focus on where you are standing and where you have to move. Okay. So talk to your friends, be in touch with them, discuss your problems, discuss your whatever group discussions you want, but in a positive form. And with friends who give you motivation, who give you encouragement, and those who pull you to do better for your growth. Okay. And surely better to stay away from this section for at least 15 minutes, 15 days. 15 days, just go for this detoxification of social media. Okay. Independent problem solving. Begin by working through problems from the test and knowledge section of study material on your own without looking at answers first. See, the purpose of giving illustration is so see the question, see the solution, how it has been done. But the purpose of giving questions in test and knowledge is that now you know the chapter, you have practiced through illustrations. Now you have to attempt on your own. Okay, after a chapter, and practice question is after a material or module. Okay. Written practice for theoretical questions very much required. Focus on tricky issues. Note it at this point side of your question or prepare a note, whatever you want to do it. But tricky questions should always be identified, even at this point of time, which you were not able to do it. You committed some mistakes or errors, and you want to just look at the end. Achha, this particular for this kind of adjustments, I have to do this accounting or I have to solve it in this manner. So those tricky issues you should keep in your mind, and for those keeping in mind, just yeah, either mark it somewhere or make a note of that. Okay, or put a flag of it so that exam में वो उसमें flags देख लेंगे, है ना? Put flag them up. Okay, that is very important. Some important concepts they may can be memorized also. It is not that ki it is a practical paper, so everything you have to understand the application. You can even memorize few things. Let me tell you, and don't at this point of time, students, from every standard, maximum 5 questions you have to do. Don't go beyond that. And financial reporting, you have to start with financial reporting right now. You cannot wait for another 10 days. Ki after last 5 days, I'll do FR. For FR being a first paper, lengthy syllabus, give at least 15 days from day before examination. Okay, one thing. Second, in case you get stuck up in particular question, try to solve it, try to analyze it, but don't waste much of the time, because at this point you are not in a position to acquire more and more knowledge. You are in a position where you have to gain more and more questions. Marks पाना जरूरी है ना. What is important is that you should increase your marks, not increase your knowledge. Your knowledge, whatever knowledge you have gained, that you have to apply and you have to increase your marks. So don't waste time in analyzing your issues. Ki what went wrong, how much went wrong. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, go through that, identify if you are able to identify, otherwise leave it. Memorize it. Memorize it. I'm very practical. I'm saying you very matlab, in a crude form, memorize it. It is not that कि आप memorize नहीं कर सकते. Every way, whatever way you can get marks, increase marks, take that step. Okay. Prepare just tricky issues. This, I believe you all have done it. I'll be giving this PPT to you students as a PDF. So hope you'll find it able to where you are not able to memorize big concepts. Try to make some mnemonics for those, some abbreviations for those. These kind of tips are given in this PPT. I'll be able to cover it. Okay. Please use this WhatsApp link to join the WhatsApp. In case you have any other query, we have updated the schedule also. Okay. Let me just tell you, we have updated the schedule also. Refresh. Just a minute, huh? Yeah. See, 20th April, financial reporting open house query session, 4 to 5. This we have updated. I'll be taking amendment class on this date. I'll put it on WhatsApp also as a reminder to you all. Okay. Any other query you have, or otherwise we'll wind up the session. So students, thank you for all. We'll wind up the session and I hope you find this session very useful to you all. I tried to give you the best which is possible, importance of every topic, subtopics which may be as important topics which I try to give you. And still, in case you have any further doubt, you may ask me through WhatsApp also or through open house session which we'll be meeting on 20th April at 4 o'clock. Okay. Okay, question was, are any useful tips to cover 100 marks paper? Don't leave anything, है ना? Selective study is always about it. पूरा पढ़ के जाएंगे तो पूरा करके आएंगे, है ना? If you study every topic, you'll be able to attempt every question. Okay. Right now, I don't give that advice. For 15 days, I won't say don't leave any topic. In case any topic which you left, you were not able to do it, leave it for now also. Okay. Just do the questions. Sometimes one way of understanding or memorizing the concept is doing the questions again and again. Same question, if you do it 2 or 3 times, the concept which is underlined in that particular question, that you'll be able to understand or you'll be able to memorize it. So solving questions again and again is also a way of understanding things. Okay, restrict the answers. Yes, restrict the answers. For theoretical answers, always attempt at the end, because in short of time, you can write it in phrases, you can write it in bullets, you can just put few words and you can explain that. Examiner will be able to understand that this is the last answer. It means definitely the student would be in hurry, so they were not able to give the complete sentence. Okay. Anand Kumar is saying, because the way given in the suggestion, if you write randomly, we can't complete. Definitely, beta, that's what I told you. A suggested answer is a publication by Board of Studies. It has to be in an ideal form, but it doesn't say that you have to follow exactly 100% what is there. You can put your working notes before, you can put your working notes in short, you can use some working notes as in the face of the balance sheet also, but everything should be there. Now, for theory answers, keywords are important, not the entire paragraph, not the entire sentence. Your conceptual clarity should reflect, and examiners look after that only. They are very experienced person and they understand from your answer. Your answer reflects your understanding. So they understand from your answer how much in depth you are. Huh? Okay. Okay. Any other query? Otherwise, we'll wind up. Huh? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Huh? Bye bye. हाँ. Thank you.